Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto and Itachi transfer into Highschool DxD Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. How many years have I been dead? 100 million years? Or maybe I have only been here for a few moments without knowing. A spirit questioned. The spirit was a bright floating figure, in an empty dark void of nothingness that seemed endless. Itachi Uchiha. A deep echoed through the empty space, waking the spirit whom opened his eyes. Yes? The spirit being of light that once was Itachi Uchiha replied as he looked around to try and find the source of the voice. He then turned around and was faced by Madara Uchiha? Madara? Itachi questioned, looking not only surprised, but confused. What would Madara Uchiha want with him? No, I only picked this form since I thought you would feel more comfortable talking to someone you knew. The being replied in such a fashion and manner, that judging by how Tobi acted when he pretended to be Madara, this being was clearly not Madara. I never knew Madara, Itachi pointed out. Huh? Really? The being questioned with a surprised look on his face. It doesn't matter anyway. Why are you here? Itachi asked. Oh, well, you see, a few 100 million years back when you died. Originally you were supposed to go to heaven. The being replied, bringing out a file. What happened? Itachi questioned, wondering if the gods changed their minds and sent him to hell, if this even was hell. Well, we sort of lost you on the way. The being nervously replied as he rubbed the back of his head while letting out a loud nervous laughter. You lost me? Itachi questioned in an annoyed tone and narrowed his gaze at the being, with the deadly Uchiha glare. Sorry, Wow could give Batman a run for his money with that kind of glare. The being uttered the last part, yet Itachi heard him and only raised his brow in confusion of who that Batman person was. Anyway, and later when we found out where you were, we sort of forgot. And now your soul is expired and you can't get into heaven. The being replied, letting out yet another nervous laugh. So I'm stuck here? Itachi questioned with a raised brow. Well, not exactly. There is one way for you to get into the afterlife. What is it? Itachi questioned. We could give you a new life, and when you die then we will try not to lose you again. The being replied. Itachi grunted in annoyance. Not that it was a problem. He would gladly take a chance at life again, although there was one problem. Fine, but I have a condition. Sure, name it. The being said as he brought out a piece of paper. What's that? Itachi asked, referring to the paper. Paperwork for your new life. All right. What I want from my new life is no memory of my old one. I want a brand new start. Itachi said, as if he was going to live a new life. He would rather not be reminded of the crimes he committed in his old one. That way he could live his life to the fullest, or rather his new self could. Granted. Enjoy your trip, the being said as he stamped the piece of paper and a portal sucked in Itachi's spirit. The next moment Itachi opened his eyes, seeing he was in a dark space. Nothing seems different, except I'm curled into a ball, and it's wet. Why is it wet? Itachi wondered. I granted you a new life, remember. An echo was heard that slowly died down. Wait, that means I'm in my new mom's womb. And I still have my memories. Why? Itachi thought, wondering if the being screwed up his request. Your new life doesn't really start until you're born. Luckily I put your conscience in a woman who's just in labor. The voice echoed again. Itachi saw a bright light coming from a hole. Slowly he crawled towards it as he was also pushed out. It's a boy, the doctor said, lifting Itachi up and then wrapped him in a towel. Here you go, miss. The doctor handed him over to a brown-haired woman that was tied into a ponytail. Her eyes were light brown. She looked slightly weak due to having gone through childbirth. She looked at him with a motherly loving smile. He's beautiful, his new mother said, and hugged him in her arms. The warmth he felt from his new mother gave Itachi a feeling of peace. What are we going to name him? A man with short brown hair, brown eyes. His clothing consisted of a business suit. He also had a pair of glasses. Itachi, his mother replied, making Itachi widen his eyes in surprise that he was given the same name he had in his previous life. Why Itachi? The father asked. I don't know, it just popped into my head, the mother replied. Time suddenly froze, making everyone incapable of moving except Itachi, who looked around. When he saw a portal open in the middle of the room with the being with Madara's face popped out, wiggling his eyebrows, clearly showing he was responsible for the name that popped into his new mother's head. Why do I still have my memories? Itachi questioned in a baby-like voice. Whoops. Almost forgot. The being replied and poked Itachi on the forehead, and he went back into the closing portal. As the portal almost closed, the being hand stopped it from closing and he stuck his head out yet again. Oh. Right. Do you still want your powers? Gaga. Itachi replied in baby language. Oh crap. Well, I'll just seal them inside you, and you can unlock them if you ever get in a dangerous situation. Although that would mean I will have to add your old memories. I'm just going to stick it into the very corner of your mind. It will be like you have multiple personalities, I guess. Bye. See you next time you die. The being replied as he vanished, and time once again moved, leaving a confused baby Itachi. 18 years later, Itachi woke up from his bed. He rubbed his eyes and let out a small yawn. He was wearing a simple black V-neck shirt and his boxer shorts. He looked out his window seeing that the sun hasn't even gotten up. He went out of his room and headed to the bathroom. Itachi felt relaxed as the hot water from the shower ran down his face and long raven black hair. Once he was done, he dried himself with a towel and then wrapped it around his waist. He then went in front of the mirror and tied his hair into a long black ponytail. He cleared the bangs from his eyes, revealing his black eyes. He then went back into his room and dressed himself with his school uniform. The uniform consisted of a black blazer with white accents over a white, long-sleeved button-down shirt, a black ribbon on the collar, matching black pants, and brown dress shoes. He looked around his room that had a large bookshelf with books on ninja history. It had also a various bunch of kunai and shuriken collection, a katana in a black holster hanging above the door, some martial arts trophies, and they were all first place. It also had some ninja anime posters hanging on the wall. Itachi didn't know why, but ninjas fascinated him. It fascinated him so much that he was willing to watch animes with ninjas or about ninjas. Itachi then saw that the sun had gotten up and that school would begin soon. Guess I should wake the idiot, Itachi said to himself and headed for the room across the hall. Knock. Itachi knocked on the door. Wake up, little brother. School starts soon. Why can't you just let my alarm clock wake me? The voice of his little brother questioned in a groggy-like tone. Because if I do that you'll be late for school, Itachi replied. Itachi, would you wake Issei? His mother asked from the kitchen downstairs. Already working on it, Itachi replied. He then placed his hand on the doorknob. You better not be masturbating in there, Itachi said, recalling all those close calls as his brother would call them. No, I'm not, Issei said, sounding a little embarrassed that his brother thought he would do it in the morning. Itachi opened the door to see his little brother sitting on the bed with a sleepy look as he let out a big yawn. Hurry up and get ready, breakfast is almost done. Yeah? Issei said, letting out yet another yawn. Issei had short brown spiky hair with several bangs covering his forehead. He had light brown eyes like their parents, unlike Itachi, who neither had brown hair nor brown eyes. After breakfast the brothers headed to school. Issei wore the same uniform as Itachi, only that Issei had his white shirt open with a red t-shirt under it. Yo! Issei! A boy at Issei's age shouted from the school gate. He was bald and was wearing the school uniform, and next to him was another boy at Issei's age that had dark hair, and was wearing a pair of glasses, and he was also dressed in the school uniform. Matsuda! Motohama! Issei shouted back to his friends. Hey, want to go peek at the kendo girls changing later? Motohama asked with a perverted face. Hell yeah! Issei replied, looking like an excited kid going to the candy store. Oh no, you won't, Itachi said, grabbing Issei on the shoulder, squeezing it a little, so that Issei flinched a little. Pretty boy, Matsuda and Motohama said with hate in unison, directed at the older Hayate. Why not? Issei questioned, looking like a child that has been denied candy. Do you want to get beaten up again? Itachi asked, as Issei had a tendency to get caught and get beaten up by the girls for it. I won't get caught, Issei replied. You always say that, but you always get caught, Itachi said as he released Issei from his grip. Why does it matter to you? Issei questioned, sounding a little annoyed, as he wasn't sure how this could possibly affect Itachi in any way. I'm your older brother, people will judge me just because you can't keep it in your pants, Itachi replied with a deadpan expression, when in reality, he just didn't want to see Issei get hurt, but he wasn't about to say that. Well, I'm sorry for being a pervert, Issei said with sarcasm. Look, I'm not saying it's wrong that you're interested in the female body. However, you shouldn't show it 24/7, Itachi said with a stoic expression, as he remembered his brother being like this ever since he was a little kid, when he ran around flipping up girls' skirts. And you should especially be careful, considering this school used to be an all-girls school, and the female population still heavily outnumbers the male population. Meaning there are a lot of people here eager to beat you up because of your interests in the female body. Look, I can't help it. Boobs are the best. Boobs are justice, Issei shouted without shame and with such passion. Whatever, Itachi said, and then he walked away. Itachi walked through the gates of the school and instantly, it's Itachi-sama, a girl squealed. He's so cool. Another girl squealed. Marry me. Yet another girl squealed. There goes Prince Charming, a boy said with jealousy in his voice. Death to all pretty boys, another boy said, earning the death glares of some of Itachi's fangirls, easily the biggest group in the entire academy. Itachi just kept walking, not paying any attention to the commotion around him. He had always been popular with girls as long as he could remember. Girls had confessed to him mostly on a daily basis, but he always turned them down. Not that he wasn't interested in the opposite sex, he just thinks that there are more important things in the world than having a relationship. This way of thought, however, leads to his parents' greatest fear of never getting grandchildren. And why they think that Issei will never give them grandchildren is explaining itself. Later, Itachi went to the spot on campus where his little brother would always hang out with the other two members of the perverted trio. When he arrived, he noticed they weren't there. Which means they are peeping on girls changing, again. Let's see, today the kendo club has practice. I'm guessing they're over there by now, Itachi thought. Hey, Itachi-senpai. The only boy that was almost just as popular as himself, Kiba Yuto, He was wearing the normal school uniform, he had short blonde hair, his eyes are gray, and he has a mole under his left eye. He was also one of Itachi's only friends since they shared the pain of fangirls. In fact, they were best friends. Itachi didn't really have that many friends due to the fact that almost every boy was so jealous of him they wanted nothing to do with him. Most of the girls had a crush on him, and were too afraid to speak to him. Kiba-san, is there anything you need? Itachi asked. I was wondering if you wanted to hang out. Kiba replied with a smile. Sorry, I have to save my stupid little brother from getting beaten to death, Itachi said in a serious tone. Kiba let out a nervous laugh. He's peeping at the girls changing again, isn't he? Although Kiba has never spoken to Issei, he was very well aware of his reputation, and he also had knowledge of the younger Haidu from Itachi. Was there any doubt? Itachi questioned with a small humorous smile. Later, Itachi tapped Kiba's shoulder before heading towards the kendo club, hopefully in time to save his brother. Yeah, see ya. Kiba waved. The closer Itachi got to the kendo club, the more he could hear the trio whispering about the girls' sizes. Hey, come on guys, let me have a look. Come on, no fair. Issei's whisper was heard, and it was a little too loud, with some grunts added as Issei tried to pull his friends back. What was that? One of the girls' voice was heard from inside. Oh boy, Itachi said to himself. Dude! Run! Matsuda shouted. Let's bail! Motohama shouted. Itachi saw them run away at high speed, most likely pushed Issei down so they would get a head start. Itachi rushed behind the club and grabbed Issei by the collar, dragging him far away from the club before any of the kendo club members would notice. What was that for? Issei questioned. You were almost caught. And your friends bailed again. Itachi replied. Yeah, well, I would have gotten away without your help. Issei said, not usually comfortable with his brother, thinking he couldn't manage on his own sometimes. You sure about that? Itachi asked as he pointed his head in one direction where Issei's two friends were running away from a horde of angry girls with kendo swords in their hands. Come back here, you damn pervs! One of the girls shouted. Please don't hit us there. Please don't hit us there. Matsuda and Motohama shouted in unison, protecting their male parts as they ran. You were saying? Itachi asked. Thank you so much. Issei replied in a truly thankful tone. Itachi-senpai. A girl's voice was heard. Itachi and Issei turned around and were greeted by two girls from the kendo club. The one who called to him was a girl named Murayama. She had long brown hair tied into twin tails with red ribbons. Her eyes were light brown, and unlike the other girl, her were big, and she was kawaii, and like her fellow kendo members, she and the other girl next to her was wearing a kendo outfit. While the other girl named Kate's had short pink hair, her eyes were red. What is it, Murayama-san? Itachi questioned, although he already knew what they were going to say. The two girls then looked at Issei with a hateful look, causing the younger Haidu to flinch. Your failure of a brother wasn't with his two friends when they were pepping at us. And we know he was there, so we want to punish him now. Murayama replied as she slammed her kendo sword to the ground, scaring Issei so much that he went to hide himself behind his brother. That's impossible, he's been with me this whole time. Right, Issei? Itachi asked his little brother, who responded by nodding several times. This time he was with me. That's unless you think I'm lying. Well, no, I don't think that senpai is a liar, Murayama said with a small blush, avoiding Itachi's gaze. Yeah, we're sorry to take so much of your time, Itachi-senpai, Kate said while also blushing a little. Oh, it's no trouble, Kate-san. Besides, it is understandable why my brother and his two friends usually peek at you. You two are so lovely after all, Itachi said with such a kind smile, making the two of them blush even more. See you later, senpai, the two of them said in unison before walking away while they were blushing madly. How do you keep doing that? Issei asked when he saw that they were gone and that he was safe. I'm not proud that I lied to them to save your skin. And as for how I do that, let's just say having good looks and a good reputation really helps, Itachi replied. Come on, let's go find what's left of your friends. I think they ran towards the old school building, Issei said, pointing at a building between a few trees. They walked around the building to find the two members of the perverted trio resting under a tree after a severe beating from the girls. There you guys are, Issei said with a slight amused grin. What the hell, man? You just left us to them like that, Matsuda said and grabbed Issei by the collar, shaking him violently. You guys ditched me, Issei shouted back, knowing if it wasn't for Itachi he would be the one to get beaten up. Couldn't you just have taken one for the team? Motohama shouted. I always take one for the team. It was your guys' turn now. And I didn't deserve to get beaten, because you assholes didn't let me get my turn, Issei shouted back at them, and both boys froze, knowing they couldn't argue with that one, although when they looked at Itachi it looked like they gained one more argument. Oh yeah, well, even if you did, you would probably just have your pretty boy of a brother there to bail you out. Matsuda pointed at Itachi, who just had a deadpan expression at listening to this conversation. Hey, here's a crazy idea. Maybe if guys stopped peeping you wouldn't get beaten up so much, Itachi said. Are you suggesting us to deny the pleasure of boobs? All three of them questioned in unison while glaring at the man whom suggested it. They were just arguing a few seconds ago and all of a sudden they turn on me, Itachi thought, then something caught his eye. Itachi looked up to the window to see a beautiful girl with long crimson red hair blowing through the wind. As her blue eyes looked back at him, he also saw that she was quite gifted in the breast department, although he didn't care about that. But her hair was like a red sundown. Only one word could describe it. Beautiful. Itachi thought. Oh, looks like your brother caught the look of something good. Matsuda said. Wow, she's beautiful. Issei said. Her name is Motohama said, but Rias Gremory. Itachi finished. You know her and Ai-san? Issei questioned. She's in the 3rd grade like me, although she's in a different class. I don't really see that much of her though. Itachi replied, still looking at the window where she once stood. He then looked back to Issei. I'm leaving, Itachi said and walked away. Inside the old school building, those 2 boys in the middle. One of them is Itachi Haidu, but who was the other one? Rias asked as she was playing chess. Well, that other boy, I think he's Itachi's little brother Issei Haidu, a 2nd-year student from class 2B. What makes you ask about them? Questioned a woman with long black hair tied into a ponytail that reached down to her legs. It was tied by an orange ribbon. She had purple eyes and a figure that rivaled Rias's. Her were slightly bigger than Rias, and like all school girls from Kuho, she wore the female uniform. Her name was Akino Himejima, and she and Rias are 2 of the most popular girls at school. I found them just very curious. Oh, checkmate. Rias replied as she finished the game. Era. Akino said, a little surprised as she leaned closer to the chessboard. Your trap was very easy to see through, Rias said as she began to undress and headed for the shower. I did my best to make it more difficult for you, Akino said as Rias went into the shower and turned on the water. Later that evening. Wait. Let me get this straight. You're saying that you got a girlfriend? Itachi questioned his little brother at the dinner table as they were eating dinner with their parents, whom were shocked. Yep. Her name is Yuma Amano. She asked me on a date. Me? Issei said with excitement. This is not like the girlfriend thing in Tokyo again, is it? Itachi questioned. She's real, Issei declared. She's super cute and has those amazing ipei. Itachi let out a sigh. Look, Issei, I'm not saying that you're ugly or anything. But a girl asking a guy like you out just like that is kind of strange. What do you mean by a guy like you? Issei questioned. A complete freaky, disgusting pervert, Itachi replied. Gah. I understand, okay, don't have to rub it in, Issei said while crying anime tears. Look, Issei, your brother is right. You should be careful around that girl, their mother said with a concerned look. That's right, son, there are a lot of mean girls out there, their father said. Look, Yuma-chan is not like that. In fact, if it will make Ai-san get off my back, I will introduce you to her tomorrow, Issei said. Sure. I'm guessing you're going to rub it into your friends that you have a girlfriend, Itachi said. Hehehe, Issei let out a little evil laugh. Figured, Itachi said as they all went back to eating. Time skip. Next morning, Ko Academy. No way. Please God, Matsuda said with a shocked expression. This can't be real, Motohama said with a similar expression. Well, I'll be damned. He wasn't lying, Itachi said with his normal expression. Guys, this is Yuma Amano. Yuma-chan, these 2 are my good friends Matsuda and Motohama, and my older brother Itachi. Issei introduced them to his new girlfriend. She had long raven black hair that reached to her back, her eyes were violet, and she was wearing a different school uniform which consisted of a dark red jacket with the letter P embroidered in gold, a white undershirt, a red bow, and a green skirt. It's nice to meet you, Yuma said with a smile which made Itachi narrow his eyes. Itachi walked up to the girl and stretched out his hand. Nice to see that not everyone minds my brother's perverseness. He's just a healthy boy that way, right? Yuma said with a smile and shook Itachi's hand. Mind if I ask? What is it you like about my brother? Itachi questioned. He's nice, gentle, and kind, Yuma replied, smiling. Ah, I see, Itachi said, smiling. Well, I'll be on my way. Later, Itachi said and walked up to Issei. Be careful around her, her smile is fake, Itachi whispered to Issei before walking away, leaving Issei, whom only raised his brow in confusion at his brother's words. Later, Itachi's room. Itachi was resting on his bed while looking up the ceiling. That girl, something was wrong about her, Itachi thought as an image of Yuma flashed through his mind. She didn't just feel right. I can't describe it, but it felt evil. Itachi got out of his bed and looked out the window to see that the sun was about to go down. They're on their date right now. Issei said he was going to finish it by the park. I feel like I should do something. Itachi looked at the katana hanging above his door. Itachi clenched his fist. He grabbed the katana and rushed his way downstairs. I'm going for a walk, Itachi said before he ran out of the door and rushed towards the park. Damn it, what am I doing? All because of just a hunch, but I can't shake the feeling in my stomach that Issei is in trouble, Itachi thought as he ran towards the park. Itachi looked towards the sun that was going down. Itachi arrived at the park and saw Issei with his girlfriend by a fountain. He saw that Yuma's outfit changed into some black strap-like objects that went around her. A thong-like piece held around her hips, black leather gloves, black thigh-high boots, her eyes looking more evil, as she grew black feathered wings. What the? Itachi questioned as halted, and then he saw that she made a spear of light. Itachi ran towards Issei at full speed. Yuma-chan. Issei uttered in confusion and tried to get back up. Please die, Yuma said as she threw the spear. However, Itachi arrived and pushed Issei to the side before the spear hit, as it stabbed into the ground. What the? Yuma widened her eyes a bit. Nisan? Issei questioned in surprise, looking stunned. Itachi turned towards Yuma with an angry expression and while growling, as he brought his katana forth. I will not let you harm my brother, Itachi said in a threatening tone. However, Yuma only smirked. Foolish boy. What makes you think you could stand up to me? Yuma questioned in a mockingly tone while letting out a menacing giggle. Itachi charged at Yuma and swung his blade at her, but Yuma backed away and flew up to the air. Yuma brought out another light spear and threw it at Itachi. Itachi leaped to the side, dodging the spear. Itachi charged at Yuma and suddenly felt something piercing through his gut. He looked down to see another light spear, although the shape and color was different from Yuma's. Rainier, why are you playing around with this human? Said a man wearing a pale violet trench coat. He was wearing a black fedora. He had black hair and blue eyes. Like Yuma or Rainier apparently, had black feathered angelic wings. Who are they? Itachi questioned as the spear vanished and left a hole in his gut. He clutched his hand over his stomach as blood gushed out from his wound. Nisan! Issei shouted in horror. Run, Issei, run, Itachi said as he struggled to get back up and staying conscious. Nisan, I can't just leave you here, Issei shouted as tears began to run down his cheeks. It's fine, just go, Itachi shouted as he began panting. His heart began beating faster from the adrenaline, and his blood was boiling, his eyes feeling like they were on fire for a second. You think we'll just let you walk away? Reina said as she made another light spear and threw it towards Issei. The spear approached Issei, who had frozen in fear on the spot, unable to move a muscle. Blood began to drip down on the ground. The two fallen angels widened their eyes as Issei stared in shock. Nisan, Issei said as he looked at Itachi, who had caught the light spear with his hand, that had blood dripping from it. Itachi panted and had bangs covering his eyes. Itachi looked up, showing that his eyes were now red with 3 black tomos with a black dot in the center. You will not hurt him, Itachi said in a threatening, growling tone as he threw the light spear to the side and it vanished. Those eyes? Is that a sacred gear? The man in the fedora questioned. I don't know. I have heard of some sacred gears, but nothing like this. It doesn't matter anyway. Let's just kill him, Danasik. Reina replied. Let's just finish this. The man now known as Danasik said and made a blue light spear and threw it at Itachi. As the spear approached Itachi at high speed. However, for Itachi, due to his Sharingan, everything was moving in slow motion. So Itachi simply stepped to the side, dodging the spear. Too slow, Itachi said. No way! Danasik shouted in shock as Itachi suddenly vanished, and then appeared behind Danasik with his katana raised above his head and swung it down. Slice! Aha! Danasik cried out in pain as his left arm was cut off from the shoulder and down. Blood gushed out from his socket as he clenched his hand above it. You filthy human! Danasik shouted in anger. Itachi then leaped to the side, dodging 2 light spears from Rainier, who threw several of them rapidly while flying in the air. Itachi was about to charge, when suddenly more blood gushed out from his wound, making him fall down on his knees. Damn it! Itachi growled and vomited out more blood. Nisan! Gyu! Issei shouted and was suddenly pierced through his gut by a light spear from Rainier. The spear vanished, leaving a hole in his gut as blood gushed out from it. Issei then fell on his back, laying there bleeding out. Issei! Itachi shouted and desperately crawled towards his brother, as memories of a young Itachi and a young Issei came to his mind, as he crawled closer to his brother. He didn't care about himself at the moment. All Itachi cared about was his brother's safety. He even ignored the tremendous pain in his stomach. You die! Danasik shouted, making a light spear in his remaining hand. Enough! Rainier shouted, making Danasik stop. He's going to bleed out anyway. Let's just leave them here to die. Besides, we cannot afford to get caught by the enemy now. We must go. Or do you wish for him to die quickly? TCH. No, you're right. Let's leave these pieces of trash here to die slowly. Danasik replied and flew off with Rainier. Issei! Hang on, I'll save you. Itachi muttered, coughing up blood as he crawled towards his brother. Sorry bro, but I'm dying, Issei said weakly. I'll rather die before letting you die, Itachi said. Issei let out a weak laugh. Then you better die quickly, because I'm not going to last much longer. Don't say that, Itachi said as he grabbed Issei by the pocket from his jacket, and felt him clenching a piece of paper. Itachi reached into his brother's pocket and brought out a flyer that said, Your wish will be granted. Please save my brother please, Itachi said as the flyer began to let out a red light, making a circle, and out of it came Rias. I'm here. You are the one who summoned me, are you not? Rias asked as she turned around to face the two brothers. Itachi grabbed her leg and looked up to her. Please save my brother, I don't care what happens to me, just save him, ugh. Itachi begged as he fell unconscious, and the Gremory girl started at him with a surprised look, that quickly turned to a warm, kind, loving smile. Wanting to save his brother even though it means that he will die. You're a kind soul, I'll take you both. Rias said with a smile as she bent down and stroked Itachi's cheek. Itachi saw Issei's bloody body lying there lifeless as his blood ran down on the ground and the light from his eyes slowly vanishing. No, 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 Issei, Itachi said while desperately crawling towards the body of his little brother, while blood from his own wound spilled out as well. No! 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 Itachi said as he saw a flow of crimson red hair and a blinding crimson light. Wake up! A voice that sounded a lot like his own echoed. Issei! Itachi shouted, waking up in his bed, sweating, shaking, and breathing heavily. When he recovered, he looked towards his own door and rushed out. Issei! Itachi ran towards his brother's room. When he opened the door, he saw Issei sleeping with a snot bobble that grew in size every time he snored. He's okay? He's okay, Itachi uttered as he stepped back into the hallway and leant up against the wall, while letting out a sigh of relief. Itachi went back into his room and sat on his bed leaning his back against the wall. That was a strange dream. But I can't help but feel like it was too real for a dream. Itachi thought, placing his hand over the spot where he was stabbed by that light spear. The pain was too real to be a dream. And that girl, Rias Gremory, was there as well. Maybe I should ask her a few questions? Itachi wondered what kind of connection that Rias had with all of this. Time skip. Itachi and Issei headed towards school like everything was normal, well, minus the fact that Itachi brought his katana with him. Itachi looked at his brother, who seemed confused and depressed. Does he remember what happened? Itachi wondered. Nisan, why do you carry that with you? Issei asked, referring to the katana strapped around his waist. I just have a feeling I will need it, Itachi replied. Aha. Issei responded with an expression that said he wanted to ask some questions, although he refrained himself from doing so. When they arrived at school, Issei went over to his two friends Matsuda and Motohama, and began asking them about Yuma. You guys seriously don't remember Yuma? Issei questioned, standing on a staircase talking with his two friends. No dude, we would have remembered if you had a girlfriend, Matsuda replied. You probably just had a dream, that's all, Motohama said. She's real. I have her phone number, Issei argued and brought out his phone, going through his contact information. Hey, hold on. Her contact information is not on my list. Look, you probably have just seen too much porn so that you've become delusional. So how about you come back home to my place and watch my new collection of DVD porn? Matsuda said with no shame. It's those three disgusting perverts. A girl that walked by whispering to her friend. They're so gross, just ignore them. The friend whispered back, but the boys heard everything and didn't seem to care. Matsuda coughed. I mean my collection of gentleman videos, he whispered to his friends, to which Motohama got excited, but Issei looked like he was deep in thought. Itachi stood in the hall below the staircase listening in on the conversation. So, he does remember. But why doesn't anyone else remember? And why was that Yuma girl's contact information gone from Issei's phone? Itachi questioned to himself. Something strange is happening. And I'm sure that Rias have the answers I'm looking for. Itachi went over to the old school building. He walked in and walked until he came across a door. This is the room where I saw her standing in the window. Itachi knocked on the door and waited for a reply. Come in. Rias's voice was heard. Itachi opened the door and saw Rias standing there wearing nothing but a towel wrapped around her. Hey. Itachi, hired right? Rias asked, not seeming to care about her current situation, and merely smiled at him. I'm sorry. Itachi tried to remain calm and turned around. Why are you here? Rias asked. I have something to ask you. Itachi turned around to see that Rias wasn't done changing and was putting on her underwear. Sorry. Itachi turned away again, this time with a faint blush. Like any boy his age, Itachi did have certain urges, just that he never expressed them or even cared that much, and like any young man his age without much experience, didn't know what to do here, or how to even react. Are you done? Itachi asked. I'm done, Rias replied. Good, then back to. Itachi stopped mid-sentence, seeing that Rias had her shirt open while leaning down, showing her cleavage, and she was standing right in front of him. I thought you said you were done? Itachi questioned, and when he realized he was still looking, he turned away. Your reaction is just so cute, I couldn't help it, Rias replied with a small giggle, which embarrassed him even further. For crying out loud, could you please stop that? Itachi pleaded, still with his back turned. Okay, I'm done for real this time, Rias said while struggling to hold back her giggles at his reaction. Itachi turned around slowly, and this time it was true. Itachi then gave a light cough as he returned to his stoic expression. About last night? Last night? Rias questioned while tilting her head to side. That girl and that man that killed me and my brother, Itachi replied with his deadpan expression, knowing she knew what he meant. What was that? I remember when they left you arrived. Well, I think I should explain it when both you and your brother are here, Rias said, sitting down at her desk. So it wasn't a dream? It did happen? Itachi questioned with his eyes narrowed. Yes, it may seem hard to believe, but it happened, all of it, Rias replied with her cute, carefree smile. But why not tell me now? Itachi questioned, as he wanted to know what was going on. Your brother is involved in this. Don't you think it would be better to explain it to you both? Rias asked, although Itachi didn't want that considering they almost died. He didn't want Issei to get involved in this. I would rather keep him away from dangerous things. Itachi replied, you really care about him. But I will say it's a bit too late to keep him away from what's going on. Rias said, implying that Issei was already in this whether he knew what said thing was or not. Do you mean that he's in danger? Itachi questioned, grabbing a hold of the katana handle, ready to rush out and protect Issei. If that girl that tried to kill him finds out that he's still alive, might put him in danger. Rias replied, this time with a more serious expression and tone. Shouldn't we do something? Obviously, you are like them in some way. Itachi shouted, seeming a little irritated that she didn't exactly find the need to go and help Issei right now. He will be fine. Relax, he's not in danger at the moment. Rias said, which made Itachi raise his brow. Was she keeping an eye out for Issei or something? So that she could tell if he was in danger or not? Did she do the same thing to him as well? Rias then reached underneath her desk and brought out a chess board that had white pieces and read. Want to play some chess? Rias asked. My little brother's life might be in danger. And you want me to play chess? Itachi questioned, to which Rias nodded. Well, if she knows that he is safe and knows if any danger approaches. Sure, tap. Rias moved a chess piece. Have you ever played before? Tap. Itachi moved a piece. Yes. I used to play in small tournaments. Itachi replied. Your move. Tap. Didn't you play with your friends? Tap. I didn't have that many friends growing up. And those that weren't exactly interested in the game. Tap. You seem like a nice guy. Why didn't you have that many friends? Rias questioned. Tap. Most people found me to be a little socially awkward sometimes. That and most of the boys from my schools were jealous of me for being talented in academics and popular with the female population. And most girls had such a crush on me they were too embarrassed to stay in the same room as me for too long, that or too afraid to see what any fan club members would do if they got too close. Itachi replied with his eyes focused on the game. Tap. Seriously? That sounds kind of unfair. How many friends have you actually had? Rias asked. Tap. In total I would say about 8. Itachi replied with his normal deadpan expression. Tap. That's so sad. Rias said with a sympathetic look. Tap. Well, I had Issei. Besides, it never really bothered me. Itachi said. Tap. Well, you can now add a new number to that friend list of yours. Rias said. Tap. Pardon? Itachi questioned with a confused expression. Tap. I'm saying I will be your friend. Rias replied with a cute smile, making Itachi widen his eyes in surprise at this. You don't even know me that well. Why do you want to be friends? Itachi asked, still with a surprised expression. Well, you're a kind soul, interesting, I'm having fun playing chess with you, I like you. What more do I need? Rias asked while still giving Itachi her kind, cute smile that gave him a slight warm feeling inside. Heh. Alright then, friend, I only have one thing to say. Itachi said with a small chuckle. What? Rias questioned. Tap. Checkmate. What? Rias asked while looking confused and blinking her eyes rapidly, as she looked down on the board and widened her eyes at what she saw. My knight, rook and pawn have surrounded your king. Checkmate. Itachi replied with a deadpan stoic expression. Now back to the subject about my little brother. How do you know if he's in any danger or not? Itachi asked. Rias remained silent while looking at the chessboard. Hello? Rias? Itachi called out. Huh? Oh yeah. Well, let's just say I know when those people approach him or you. Rias said. How? Itachi questioned. Well, let's say I have someone watching you both, and then warn me when you're in danger. Now how about you go and find your brother and bring him here tomorrow? And I will tell you everything. Rias suggested. Although Itachi really wanted answers now, he saw there was no point in arguing. Sounds acceptable, I guess. Itachi said and headed towards the exit. Just so you know, you lasted longer than anyone I have faced in chess. Well, thanks, I guess. Next time I will try to give you a better challenge. Rias said with a smile and a friendly chuckle. I would like that. Itachi said before he left the room. Itachi walked in the streets and noticed it was in the middle of the night, yet he could see everything clearly. He could hear a couple talking from a far distance. What's happening to me? This doesn't make any sense. How can I see everything so clearly like it's day yet it's night? And how can I hear someone like they are right next to me from such a distance? Itachi thought, and then noticed the park where he and Issei died. He walked down to the park and walked over to the fountain, and there was Issei. What are you doing here? Itachi asked. Issei turned around to face his brother, and also looked surprised over seeing Itachi here. What are you doing here? I dreamt that we died? Issei questioned with a surprised expression. Yeah, I assume you remember as well. Itachi replied. What happened? Issei questioned. Let's just say it wasn't a dream apparently. Itachi replied when the air around them suddenly changed. So you are alive, you damn bastard. A familiar voice said. That voice. Itachi turned around and saw the one-armed Danasik, and he was out for blood. You're the man from last night. You know, I'm a little glad that you are alive. Now I can watch you die slowly. Danasik said, bringing out his wings while grinning like a madman. You know. When I cut something off of you, I should have aimed for your neck. Itachi mocked, reading his blade. Danasik then formed a light spear in his hand. They stared each other down, then Danasik gained an evil smirk. Itachi widened his eyes as he saw Danasik throw the light spear at Issei. Itachi rushed in front of Issei and grabbed the spear in midair. Gyu! Itachi grunted in pain as smoke came from his palm. It felt like he was touching a pure fire. Son of a bitch! That burns! Itachi let go of the spear and looked at his hand, to see that it had suffered severe burn marks. It's made out of light. It's like poison to your kind. Danasik said, forming another spear. Time to die, you filthy devil! Danasik threw the spear at Itachi. Itachi then looked up with red eyes with 3 black tomos and a black dot in the center. Itachi then leaped to the side, dodging the spear. Looks like you activated that sacred gear of yours. Now it's time to get the party started. Focus on your mind. Focus on your surroundings. Find the weakness of your enemy. Itachi heard a voice similar to his own all around him. Who's there? Itachi questioned, looking around. Nisan? Issei questioned. Where are you? Show yourself. Itachi shouted, looking around. Has he gone insane? Danasik questioned, forming another light spear. Heh. Oh well. Danasik said with a small chuckle and threw the spear at the confused Itachi. Dodge. The voice shouted, snapping Itachi out of his train of thought. He turned around to see the spear flying towards him. Itachi leaped to the side, dodging the spear. Where are you? Who are you? Itachi questioned, seeing as nobody else could hear that voice. Down here. The voice said as Itachi directed his attention to the fountain. He looked down and saw his reflection. However, in the reflection he looked different. He looked slightly older. He wore a black high-collared cloak with red clouds on them. He had a headband on his forehead with a symbol on a metal forehead protector that looked like it had been cut. His hairstyle was the same, and the eyes were also red with the black tomos and the black dot in the center. What the? Itachi questioned in confusion. Don't ignore me! Danasik shouted, throwing another light spear. Itachi leaped away from the fountain as it was destroyed by the light spear. I suggest you end this before his friends show up. The voice warned. Are you in my head? Itachi questioned. More like a part of your consciousness. Let's just say I'm something you forgot a long time ago. The voice replied. Danasik made another light spear. I will kill you! Danasek shouted when suddenly he was hit from behind at the back of his head by a large stick that broke in half when it hit him. Who dares? Danasek turned around in rage to be faced by Issei. I don't care what you are. Or who you are. No one attacks my family. Issei shouted as he threw a punch, hitting Danasek in the face, sending the man back a few steps. You will pay for insulting me like that, you brat. Danasek growled and kicked Issei to the side and formed another light spear. I will kill you first. Danasek threw the spear. In the next moment a large gush of blood hit the ground. Issei had his eyes widened with sweat running down his forehead. Nisan. Issei muttered when he saw the spear piercing Itachi's gut while he stood in a defensive manner in front of Issei. Blood dripped on the ground. That was meant for me. Why? Why did you take the hit? Issei questioned with tears running down his cheeks. It's a big brother's job to protect his little brother, Itachi replied, pulling the spear out from his gut as more blood gushed out in a puddle beneath his feet. And if that means death, then so be it. Don't be stupid. Let's just run away and get you some help. Issei shouted with tears running down his face. Why, you haven't even had a girlfriend yet. A guy can't die without having done it once. Heh, as always with the foolish reasons. Itachi chuckled weakly as he struggled to remain standing. Damn, this burns much more than last time. Itachi held his hand over his gut. Ha! 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 You will pay for taking my arm. This time you will die. Danasek said with an evil laugh, forming another spear. And after you're dead, your brother's next. No, you won't. Itachi said as he took a stance with his katana. If I die, then so be it, but I will make sure to take you with me. Itachi charged at Danasek, who threw a light spear at him, but Itachi jumped to the side, dodging it as he kept running towards Danasek. Why? Won't you just die? Danasek shouted as he kept throwing a new light spear after another, but Itachi dodged them all. Itachi delivered a slice with his katana, but Danasek dodged by flying up in the air. Danasek looked down to see that Itachi was gone. Where did he go? Danasek questioned when he looked up, which made his eyes widen. This ends now, Itachi said with his blade raised above his head, while he was in front of Danasek. And then, ha-ya, slice, Itachi landed on the ground with blood on his katana. Behind him fell a severed head and then a headless one-armed black-winged corpse. Itachi panted as his eyes turned back into their normal shade of black. He dropped his katana and fell on his knees, and then he fell on the ground. He lay there in a pool of his own blood. Nisan! Nisan! Issei said as he shook his brother's body but got no response. Come on, Nii-san. Don't joke around. Wake up! Issei cried. A red magic circle appeared and out from it emerged Rias, Akino, and a little short white-haired girl with her hair cut in a bob cut. Her eyes were golden, and she was wearing the standard female Co-Academy uniform. Looks like he killed the fallen angel, Rias said as she looked at the headless corpse, and blasted it into oblivion. I was careless. Who knew he'd come into contact with a fallen angel? Akino said as they went over to Itachi's corpse. Rias-senpai? Issei questioned. You have to save him. Please. Issei begged. He'll die at this rate. Kaneko informed. I won't let him die. After all, he's my Rias said and leaned down towards Itachi. Wait, so you will save him? Issei questioned, tears still running down his face. Of course. Rias replied with a smile. He will be fine in the morning. Just go home and rest. Rias then made a magic circle below her and Itachi as they vanished through it. Next morning, Itachi was standing in front of a lake with a dark-haired man that was wearing a green vest and a dark shirt underneath. The man made a few hand signs and inhaled his breath. Fire style. Fireball justu. The man spitted out a large ball of fire. See that, Itachi? That is one of our clan's most known jutsus. Now you try, my son. The man said to the young Itachi with short black hair. He was wearing a black shirt with a red-white fan on his back. He was wearing brown shorts. The young Itachi made the same hand signs and inhaled his breath. Fire style. Fireball justu. Itachi spitted out a smaller fireball than his father, but then it increased in size, making it even larger than his father. Heh. That's my boy. Itachi's father praised. Itachi then woke up in his bed. Another one of those dreams. Itachi got up from bed and went over to his desk. He brought out a pen and a piece of paper. He drew the hand signs he saw in his dream, then two stick figures, one of them standing there normally with his hands gathered, the second one spitting out a large fireball. Then Itachi looked down and noticed something. Why am I naked? Itachi questioned when he looked over to his bed and noticed some lumps under the cover. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Itachi thought. Itachi slowly approached the bed and removed the covers. He then widened his eyes in surprise while gaping. Are Rias? Itachi questioned, seeing a completely naked sleeping Rias in his bed. What's going on? What did I do last night? Itachi questioned when suddenly Rias's arms wrapped around his neck, pulling him down. MPGH. Itachi muttered as his face was pushed in between Rias's soft, big bouncy. Itachi for a moment felt relaxed at feeling this softness in his face, and feeling Rias's soft, smooth skin touching his. However, that ended quickly as he remembered the situation, and small trace of blush grew on his cheeks. Why me? Itachi thought. Good morning, Rias said, looking at Itachi with her usual smile, and a look that also said she thought he was adorable. Will you now tell me what's going on? Itachi asked, trying to ignore the current situation and keep his cool. Sure. My name is Rias Gremory, and I'm a devil. Rias replied. Devil? Itachi questioned with widened eyes, as Rias stroked his cheek gently. That's right. I'm also your master. Nice to meet you, Hayadu Itachi, Rias said with seductive eyes as she lifted his face up and held his chin. Issei. Itachi. It's time to wake up. Itachi's mother shouted, walking up the stairs. Oh no. Itachi thought, and in a desperate attempt broke free from Rias's hold and grabbed the covers and went to cover her. It's unusual for you to sleep in like this, you know, Itachi, his mother said as she opened the door, seeing Itachi, who was gaping in fear as his mother saw him being on top of a beautiful, large-breasted, red-headed foreign girl. Good morning. How are you today? Rias asked with her usual smile, and did not seem bothered by this situation in the slightest. Good morning. Please get ready soon, Ms. Hayadu said while blushing a little, and slowly closing the door. Dear, she shouted as she rushed down the stairs to her husband. Honey, what's the matter? Was Issei masturbating to porn mags again? Mr. Hayadu asked his hysterical wife. No. It's not Issei, Ms. Hayadu said. Itachi was masturbating. That's unusual, Mr. Hayadu said with shock in his voice. He was in bed with naked foreign girl. A beautiful red-headed foreign girl. She shouted back. Really? That's my boy. His father shouted with pride and let out a laughter, and then all that was heard was someone getting hit, and the laughter stopped. How am I going to explain this? Wait. Why were I in bed with Rias? Why can't I remember anything? Let's see, we were playing chess. I then left and went to the park, found Issei, met that man with the wings again, fought him, got stabbed again protecting Issei, and then I killed the man, and everything after that is a blank, Itachi thought while rubbing his head. You have quite an energetic family, Rias said, sitting on Itachi's bed, still naked. Look, you know I can see everything, right? Itachi asked as he got a good look, before looking down. Yes. You may look at them if you want, Rias replied, thinking Itachi was like most boys. What? No, could you please put some clothes on? Itachi asked, shocking Rias a little. You know most guys would have wanted me to stay naked, Rias said, bending down to Itachi's eye level. Then again, I think you're the only guy who has actually seen me naked. Well, I'm not most guys. And before you ask, I'm straight, Itachi said, making Rias let out a small giggle. Yes, I can see that, Rias said as she looked down on Itachi. I believe this is considered to be quite impressive, Rias said while still looking down on Itachi's lower area, whom finally realized and turned around. It's just a morning reaction, Itachi uttered, to which Rias gave a teasing smile. Oh? Sure, me being here like this hasn't got anything to do with why it's still standing? Rias said in a more teasingly tone. Itachi didn't even bother to respond, as he didn't find anything to reply with. Rias went over to her clothes and put her panties back on. Is your stomach okay? Rias asked, making Itachi look a little confused. Where you were stabbed. Itachi looked at his stomach, seeing it was completely fine. In fact, it looked like nothing happened. It's healed. Itachi then remembered that he was still naked and instantly went over to his drawer and grabbed some boxers. Good to hear it. You must have an unexpectedly sturdy body. Rias bent down and grabbed her bra. She put her in each of the cups. A fatal wound like that healed overnight, after all. What do you mean by healed? Itachi questioned, putting on more clothes. I shared some of my demonic powers with your weakened body, Rias said and turned around. Mind hooking my bra? Rias asked. Itachi let out a sigh. Sure. But you have to answer some questions for me, Itachi said. Fine, what do you want to know? Rias asked as Itachi was hooking her bra. Why were you and I naked in bed? Itachi questioned. I told you. I shared my demonic powers with you so you could heal up, thus I had to hug you naked, Rias replied. Hugging me naked? Itachi questioned as an image of a naked Rias hugging him in bed came to his mind. Was that really needed? Pretty sure Issei would have loved it though. It's alright. I'm still a virgin, Rias informed. Well, that's a relief, Itachi muttered when Rias suddenly placed her hand on his chin, bringing their faces closer to each other. This world is full of mysteries, Rias said. Mysteries? That reminds me, Rias? Itachi asked. What is it? Rias questioned. You were talking about devils earlier, Itachi said. That's right, I'm a devil. And also your master, Rias said as she slowly removed her hand from Itachi's chin. May I call you Itachi? Time skip, Co-Academy. And no way. It can't be. A boy shouted in shock. No way. A girl cried. Our Rias-senpai has been taken. Another boy cried as Rias walked through the school gates with Itachi right behind her, and with Issei not far behind, sending death glares at his brother like most of the boys. Why did it come to this? Itachi asked himself with an annoyed expression. He then saw that Rias wasn't really fazed by what people said. Well, neither was he for that matter. I'll send someone to fetch the two of you later, Rias informed when they entered the school building. Fetch us? Issei questioned. Very well then, Itachi said. Then Rias walked away. Shouldn't you follow her to class or something? Issei was about to ask his brother a question, when all of a sudden Matsuda came out of nowhere and punched Issei in the face, sending him flying into a pillar with his face first. What the hell, man? What do you think you're doing walking to school with a hot chick like Rias-senpai? You traitor! Matsuda shouted with tears running down his face. Now Matsuda, there's no need for that, Motohama said as he placed his hand on Matsuda's shoulder. But he totally betrayed us, Matsuda complained. Issei is our friend. Let's hear him out first, Motohama said, and then pointed at Issei. Where did you go? And what did you do after you left yesterday? Look, I didn't do anything. She was in his bed. And naked for that matter, Issei shouted, pointing at his older brother Itachi, whom had a bored expression. What? Matsuda and Motohama questioned in unison. Well, that's true, Itachi said. After all, she did wake up in his bed and she was naked. You pretty boy bastard, Matsuda shouted in anger, clutching his fist. But I didn't have sex with her, if that's what you're wondering, Itachi said, making everyone gain a confused expression. What do you mean by that? Why was she naked in your bed if you didn't do the dirty deed? Matsuda asked. Well, I went over to her club room to play chess, and after that we went on a walk. She fell into a fountain, and I offered her to spend the night in my room until morning, Itachi replied, although most of it was a lie. But why was she naked? Motohama asked. Well, all of her clothes were wet, so I had to dry them. And she didn't bring any spare clothes, and all of my clothes were too big, so she said that she would prefer to sleep naked, Itachi replied with a straight face. Well, I guess that makes sense. Wait, where did you sleep? Matsuda asked, pointing his finger directly at Itachi. Since I'm not a perverted freak like you guys, I slept on the couch downstairs. Now, if you will excuse me, I have to get to my class, Itachi said, and headed for the stairs to the second floor, when Issei grabbed his shoulder. What was it that really happened? Issei asked in a whisper tone. Apparently the only way she could heal me was that we hugged each other naked, Itachi replied in a whisper tone. Damn, I'm so jealous, Issei muttered in anger, clenching his fist, but then gained a worried expression. But you're completely healed, right? Yeah, I'm fine, Itachi replied in a whisper tone and kept walking, leaving Issei with his friends. Later. School's over, now it's just to wait for whoever will fetch me, Itachi thought, sitting at his desk. Oi, Itachi! There's an underclassman here to see you, one of Itachi's classmates shouted. Itachi walked over to the door and was met by Kiba. Kiba? Itachi questioned. Yo! Itachi-senpai. Rias Gremory sent me here to fetch you. Kiba replied with a smile. So you work for her, huh? Itachi asked with a narrowed gaze at his best friend. Kiba let out a nervous chuckle while scratching his cheek. Yeah, now let's go get your brother. They headed down to Issei's classroom, and when they entered, Kia! It's Kiba! And Itachi-senpai! A girl squealed. Hey, you all look very lovely. Kiba said with a smile. Good afternoon. Itachi bowed and walked over to Issei's desk. I'm sorry the room's not cleaner. Another girl said. Issei, let's go. Itachi said. Wait. Kiba is the one fetching us, seriously? Issei questioned. Oh no! Why do they have to go with him? A girl said with disgust directed at Issei. Since we know that Itachi-senpai is immune to his perverted nature, since they are brothers. But don't do it, Kiba! Or you might catch pervert. Another girl said, treating Issei's perverseness like a sickness. Relax. I promise not to drain any of his pimp juice. Issei shouted and walked with his brother and Kiba. They walked over to the old school building and entered a wood-paneled room, with Victorian-style couches and chairs along the walls. One side of the room looked like it was set up to be a bath, and there was a large circle with some strange markings on it. Where are we? Issei asked, and he spotted Kaneko sitting on the couch eating some sweets. This girl is. She's Tuja Kaneko, a first-year student. This is Hayate Itachi and his little brother Hayate Issei. Kiba introduced, to which Kaneko greeted with a nod. Hello? Issei said, rubbing the back of his head nervously. Greetings. Itachi bowed, her petite physique and irresistible lowly looks. She's not only a popular mascot for guys with that kind of preference but also for other girls. That's Tuja Kaneko. It's such a happy surprise to find out she's an occult research club member. Issei thought with a perverted expression. I know that look. Itachi thought with a sweat drop. Issei then heard the water from the shower. A shower? In the clubroom? Issei thought. I just hope she comes out with more than a towel this time. Itachi thought, remembering what happened last time he came here. Bucho, I brought your clothes. Akino informed. Thank you, Akino. Rias's voice was heard from the shower. Rias-senpai. I knew it. What a fantastic clubroom this is. Issei said with a perverted grin. What a creepy face. Kaneko commented. Try and behave. Itachi said, lightly punching his brother on the head. I can't help it. Issei cried. Era. Look who's here. Akino said, walking up to the two brothers. You two are the new club members, right? Pleased to meet you. Akino bowed, and when she looked back up her boobs bounced. They were slightly bigger than Rias from the looks of it. I'm the club's vice president, Himejima Akino. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Akino said with a small giggle. I am Hayate Issei. Nice to meet you too. Issei said with a small blush. Hayate Itachi, the pleasure is all mine. Itachi said while giving a polite bow. Thanks for waiting. Rias said, exiting from the shower, having changed into her school uniform, while drying her long crimson red hair with a towel. Sorry I didn't have time to shower at your place. It's no trouble. Itachi said. Well, everyone's here now. We welcome you to the Occult Research Club. Rias said as she sat on her desk while the others sat on the couches. But the Occult Research Club is a mere facade. Nothing more than a hobby. What do you mean? Issei asked. I'm curious to know as well. Itachi commented. I'll be frank. We are devils. Rias said with a straight face. That was indeed very frank. Issei said. The black winged man you two fought yesterday was a fallen angel. Rias informed, shocking Issei and making Itachi's interest peak. Once angels serving God, they have been cast down to the underworld due to their wicked nature. They're trying to manipulate humans and destroy us devils. Since primeval times, there's been a constant struggle for dominance in the underworld, or hell, as humans call it. There are normal angels, coming here on God's orders to hunt devils. In other words, we have a three-way standoff. Rias said as Issei gained a confused expression, while Itachi was paying as much attention as he could. Do you follow me so far? Rias asked. This is getting kinda too complicated for a stupid high school student like me. Issei said with a nervous laughter. I think it doesn't sound that complicated. She is basically saying that angels, fallen angels and devils have fought a war for quite some time now. Itachi said as he got pretty much most of what Rias was saying. Still a little too difficult for me, but I think I get some of it. Issei said while scratching his head. Amano Yuma. Rias said, shocking Issei at the mention of that name. I'm sure you remember her. You even had a date, after all. I have no idea where you've heard that name, but don't treat it as some occult phenomenon. Frankly speaking, I find it unpleasant. Sorry, but Issei said, standing up from the couch, and was about to leave, when Rias placed a photo of Issei and Yuma on the table. Yuma? Issei widened his eyes at seeing the photo. She was there. No doubt about it. Rias said as Issei stared at the photo with wide eyes. That girl is Amano Yuma, isn't she? Why yes, but how did you get this? Issei questioned. Let me guess, she's also a fallen angel. Itachi said as he picked up the photo, examining it, and glaring at Yuma with anger. Indeed, she's a fallen angel, same as the man you fought last night. Rias said. But Matsuda and Motohama didn't remember anything about her, and her cell phone address also, Issei said. She used her powers, Rias replied, then looked at Itachi. Just like I used mine on your parents. Flashback. This morning, Hayato residence. A friend from school? Miss Hayato questioned as they were having breakfast. I heard you were naked together in bed. Mr. Hayato said as he, like his wife, found the situation shocking. What? Naked? Issei questioned while looking at Itachi in anger. I'm surprised you didn't hear Mom yell to Dad about it this morning. Itachi said with a deadpan expression and a sweat drop. That's how kids hang out nowadays, sir, madam. Rias said, releasing some red aura wave around her. What was that? Itachi questioned. That's a ridiculous reason. Issei said. Is that so? Miss Hayato said, looking a little hypnotized. I see. All right then. Mr. Hayato said, also looking a little hypnotized. They're buying it? Issei questioned with a shock expression. While Itachi looked at Rias as her eyes glowed red for a moment. Flashback end. Once that fallen angel completed her mission, she erased memories and records of it from you and the people around you. Rias informed. Mission? Issei questioned. Killing you? Rias replied. She came to check whether you have a certain dangerous object in your body. You were killed once that was confirmed. Then why did they kill Nai-san as well? Issei asked. Probably because I interfered. Right. Itachi said and then turned towards Rias. Well, that. And because they discovered that you also have a dangerous object of some kind. Rias replied. And what are these objects? Itachi asked. In your brother's case, it's something known as sacred gear. Rias replied. An unusual power that resides in certain humans. It is said most of the great men in history possessed it. Akino explained. Sometimes they have power formidable enough to threaten devils and fallen angels. Issei, raise your left hand. Like this? Issei said as he raised his left arm above his head. Close your eyes and imagine the strongest being that comes to mind. Rias said. This is all too sudden. Focus, Issei. Rias said. Okay. Focus, focus. Issei mumbled. Yes, Issei, focus. Rias said when Itachi noticed what Issei had his eyes locked on. Due to Rias sitting on her desk, they were able to get a glimpse of her black panties. Itachi stepped in front of Issei, blocking the view. How about you focus on your power instead of focusing on something perverted? Fine. Issei shouted and closed his eyes. Focus. Focus. What about my so-called power? Itachi asked, turning around to face Rias. Well, apparently it was activated during the first time you encountered the fallen angels. What felt different in you back then? Rias asked. Well, everything began to look like it was moving in slow motion. Like my Viscon was different. Itachi replied. Then let's see if you can focus the power in your eyes. Try focusing. Rias said. All right then. Itachi said and began to focus his power into his eyes. Itachi then closed his eyes, and when he opened them, they were red, with 3 black tomos and a black dot in the center. Oh my. Rias said and went up to Itachi, placing her hand on his chin, inspecting his eyes. What is it? Itachi asked as he thought that Rias's face was so close to his own. Your eyes, they're different. Rias replied. Different? Itachi questioned. Here. Rias handed him a mirror. Itachi widened his eyes. Is this a scared gear? They look so cool. Issei said in amazement. Era. They look quite beautiful. Akino said with a small giggle. Yeah, they look quite beautiful indeed. Rias agreed. As if it's a scared gear. I'm not sure, but most likely it is. What do you mean by that? Itachi asked. Well, I have heard of some I-type sacred gears, but nothing like this. Rias replied with a curious expression. Interesting. Rias said and then turned to Issei. Issei, keep focusing. I have tried, I can't. Issei cried. It's all right. We'll take it slow. Rias said. Still, maybe there's been some kind of mistake. Issei said. It's a fact the fallen angels fear it, and had you killed. Rias said. But if it's a fact, how come I'm still alive? Issei questioned. How come Nai-san is still alive? Because of this. Rias said, holding out a flyer. That is, Issei said. That's the flyer that was in your pocket. Itachi said. You summoned me from this fire moments before you and Issei died. Issei, you've been reborn into the household of Rias Gremory, daughter of Duke Gremory, an upper-class devil. Rias said as bat-like wings popped out from her back. As my servant devils, that is. Indeed, we're the same. Akino said as bat-like wings popped out from her back, as well as Kiba's and Kaniko's. Issei stared in shock when bat wings popped out from his back. What the? Itachi questioned as bat-like wings popped out from his back. So welcome, Itachi Issei. Rias said. Itachi then went on his knees and bowed before Rias. What are you doing, Nai-san? Issei questioned. If it weren't for you, me and my brother would be dead. I thank you and I vow my life to you. Itachi said. And if needed I would put my life on the line for you. Rias placed her hand on the top of Itachi's head. There's no need to bow. You are a part of our family now, and we will look out for each other. Rias said and hugged his head into her. Why, you are most kind. Itachi said. Now on to information about what you will do as devils. Rias said and got back up, and Itachi stood up as well. Devils collect power by forming contracts with humans, and receiving compensation for it. Nowadays, no one manually draws magic circles to summon devils, so we just hand the circles out to potential contractors. I see, Itachi said as he and Issei placed some flyers into their bags. We usually have familiars do it, but as a servant devil you too need to learn the basics. Work hard and you might get a servant for yourself someday, Rias informed. And my own servants? Issei questioned in excitement. It all depends on the effort you put in, Rias replied. If they're servants, they will obey me, right? Issei asked with a perverted expression. Yes, Rias replied with a smile. I have a bad feeling about this, Itachi said with a deadpan expression. I can do whatever I want with them, right? Issei asked. Of course, Rias replied, unfazed by Issei's obvious perverted intentions. I'll like even perverted things, Issei asked. If they're your servants, why not? Rias said with a smile. Then I will become the harem king, Issei shouted. And there it is. Did you have to tell him that? Itachi said, looking at Rias. If it makes him work hard, I don't see why not, Rias replied with her usual smile, making Itachi's sweat drop. Let's go, Mr. Harem King, we have a delivery to make, Itachi said, dragging Issei out of the room. After they were done with the delivery of the flyers, they headed back to the clubroom. Delivery finished, Issei declared. Issei, I have one more task for you today. Kaneko received 2 summoning requests, so I'll let the 2 of you handle one of them, Rias said. Thanks for doing this, Kaneko said with a bow. No problem, Itachi said. Yeah, no problem, Issei said. Akino formed a large red magic circle on the floor. This is a magic circle used for teleportation. Give me your left hand, Issei, Rias said. Oh, sure, Issei said, bringing his left hand forth as well as Itachi. Rias then used her magic to make a red symbol on the palm of their hand. This is a carved seal. It serves as proof that you two belong to the Household Gremory. Do as I've told you when you're with the client. You think the 2 of you can handle it? Rias questioned. Why, yes, Issei replied. Shouldn't be too difficult, Itachi replied. Glad to hear that. Off you go then, Rias said. Yes. The brothers shouted in unison, stepping in the magic circle. They were then embodied by a bright light. Huh? Itachi questioned as he was in a room filled with different mangas, anime figurines, posters, and a man wearing glasses with long dark hair. And Issei was nowhere to be seen. Who are you? Where's Kaneko? The man asked. She was overbooked and me and my brother took this assignment for her, Itachi replied. Where's this brother of yours then? The man asked. He seems to be having trouble with the teleporting thing, I guess. I'm a servant of the Gremory household. My name is Itachi, Itachi introduced when his cell phone started to ring. Yes? Itachi answered his phone. It seems Issei is too weak in magic power to teleport, so he's on his way now with his bicycle, Rias informed when a crying Issei could be heard in the background. I understand. Thank you, Itachi said and hung up. It seems we will have to wait. An hour later, Itachi and the man was sitting and sipping some tea when someone knocked on the door. The man went to open it and was met by a crying Issei. What took you so long? Itachi asked. Well, sorry for not being able to teleport, Issei shouted. The man handed Issei some tea. Thank you, Issei said. Since the 2 of you are devils, what are your talents? The man asked. Talent, huh? What does Kaneko usually do? Issei asked. There's cosplay and being held in arms, just like a princess. The man brought out a cosplay outfit that was about Kaneko's size. Why, you don't need a devil for that, Issei complained. A small girl like her won't be able to lift me if she's not a devil. The man argued. Well, that's true, Itachi said. I guess you have a point. Issei gave up. Wait. She lifts you? So what can you guys do? The man asked. I can do this, Itachi said as his eyes turned red with 3 black tomos and a black dot in the center. Oh, some kind of devil eyes. Interesting. What about you? The man looked over to Issei. Well, Issei said and went into some stance. Kamehameha, sorry, I can't do anything yet, Issei apologized. Dragon Ball, huh? Seeing how young you are, you must have watched re-airings. I'm from the 1st generation. Behold, these are all first issues, the man said, showing them a collection of Dragon Ball manga. You're from the 1st generation, so what? Issei shouted. What? The man questioned. What's going on? Itachi questioned. I have a special edition of all volumes, Issei argued with the man. You don't know how every Wednesday, the day after broadcast, I traveled across the earth with my comrades to gather energy for the ultimate spirit bomb, the man said, acting like a superior fan than Issei. Didn't you have a job for us? Itachi questioned again but was ignored. I've played hide and seek in the park with my friends, and we found each other by our life energy. I still believe the protagonist, Son Goku, is the world's strongest, Issei said. I think Vegeta is the strongest, the man argued. You could make a case for that too, Issei said. Right, what's going on? Itachi questioned with a sweat drop. But nothing beats Son Goku's Kamehameha wave, Issei argued. The man then brought out a pile of mangas. Let's talk, the man said with a serious expression. Shall we? Issei said with a serious expression. What about the contract? Itachi questioned. After some debating, Issei and Itachi were walking back to the club. Sorry, Anai-san, Issei said with a nervous laughter. Just be glad I decided to walk back with you. Because of you we couldn't even form a simple contract. Itachi said with an annoyed expression when the air around them changed. This feeling, Issei said, it's just like with Danasik. Itachi finished when they spotted a woman with long navy blue hair, dark blue eyes. Her attire consisted of a violet trench coat-like top with a wide collar. The top was open so that you could get a full view of her and cleavage, a matching miniskirt, and long black-heeled shoes. How strange. I don't seem to have the wrong person. I, Calwarner, have been ordered to erase all traces. How utterly strange. No way? Why are you two alive? The woman known as Calwarner asked as black feathered wings popped out from her back. A fallen angel, Issei said. Damn, and I didn't bring my katana, Itachi said as his eyes turned red with 3 black tomos and a black dot in the center. If you're alive, does that mean the two of you killed Danasik? Calwarner asked, throwing a light spear which Issei and Itachi dodged. Calwarner then spotted the Gremory symbol on Itachi and Issei's palms. The Gremory household seal? Damn it! Issei cursed. I killed that fallen angel Danasik. If you're after revenge, then leave him out of it. Itachi as he stood in front of Issei. I'm afraid I can't do that. Since you're both a part of that household, I will kill you both, Calwarner said, making another light spear. No, I will not be protected again. Grant me power. Give me power! Issei shouted, tired of being helpless, and tired of Itachi having to risk his life. Never again. Issei let out a scream as his arm let out a green glow, and then some red gauntlet with a green crystal orb on it, as well as golden spikes sticking out from the side, formed on his arm. The power it let out sent shock waves towards Calwarner, blowing her clothes away. Sacred gear. I should notify her first, then kill you, Calwarner said and flew of. Sacred gear? Issei questioned. Later at the clubroom. Yes, that is your sacred gear. Once unleashed, you can activate and deactivate it as you please, Rias informed as the gauntlet vanished. Issei let out a sigh of relief. I was so worried it might just stay there. Well done, little brother, Itachi said and patted Issei on the back with a smile. Thanks. Next time I won't need your protection, Issei said with a grin. What if the Kendo Club attacks you again? Itachi asked with a smirk. Then I will count on your help, Issei said with a bow. This is quite a headache. The fallen angels now know you two are still alive, reborn as devils, Rias said. I'm sorry, Issei apologized. Your encounter with the fallen angel was a fluke, but you two need to understand this. Don't get cocky and try to take them on by yourself, Rias said. I understand, Issei said. Understood, Itachi said. We're off then, Issei said as he and Itachi walked out. Perhaps you were too harsh on them. They are still new to all this, Akino said. That's why I'm being harsh. They need to be on alert. Yes, I won't let fallen angels take away my adorable servants, Rias said with a serious expression. Time skip. Next morning, Itachi and Issei were walking to school. Bucho might still be angry at us, Issei said. She's only harsh on us because she cares about us. She's not mad, so don't worry, Itachi assured. But still, aha! A girlish scream was heard. The brothers directed their attention to the source and saw a pair of white panties of a girl that had fallen down face first, with her skirt now lifted upwards. Issei gained a perverted smile, while Itachi just looked at his brother with a deadpan expression. Ow! Why did I trip? The girl asked herself as she got up, now sitting on the ground, bringing her skirt back down. She was now facing the two Haida brothers. She was a blonde girl, with green eyes, and she was wearing a nun outfit. Who's that? Issei questioned. A blonde girl's sparkling whites. This is a rare, no, a super rare sight, Issei thought, staring at the blonde girl's white panties. In the meantime, Itachi looked at Issei with a deadpan expression. Itachi slapped Issei in the back of the head. Keep it in your pants, Itachi scolded and walked up to the blonde nun. Are you all right? Itachi reached his hand out to the girl like the gentleman he was. Yes. Thank you, the girl replied and accepted Itachi's hand as he helped her up. Once up, the wind blew away her hood, revealing her long blonde hair, and as her green emerald eyes shined in the sun. Itachi then let go of her hand and noticed Issei staring at her in awe. I think this is the first time he's looked at a cute girl without a perverted expression. She's cute, Issei thought. Then her hood blew away and Issei ran after it. I'll be darned, he might actually have changed, Itachi thought, and then walked up to his brother, who now had caught the hood. She's just my type. Version, blonde beauty, Issei thought with a perverted grin. Itachi saw his brother's facial expression and sweat dropped. Never mind. Issei handed the hood back to the girl. Thank you so much, the girl thanked with a smile. Oh, no problem, Issei said, rubbing the back of his head. I've got to keep this conversation going. Let's see something to say, Issei thought. Well, the weather's really nice today, and Issei said, to which Itachi face-palmed himself. I sound like an old woman. I got lost and need help. the girl said with a little embarrassed blush and a smile. Are you on a trip? Issei asked, seeing her briefcase. Oh no. I was appointed to this town's church. The girl replied. I see, so you've been appointed to this church as a new nun. Itachi said. Yeah. I'm so glad I met such nice people like the two of you. It must have been divine guidance. The girl said with a pure innocent smile. Well, Issei said with a nervous chuckle, then he noticed the silver cross hanging around her neck. Issei then looked away, making Itachi gain a confused expression. That's strange, normally he would glare more into that area. Itachi thought and decided to see what was wrong, and then he saw the cross, and gained a strange feeling of danger. Oh, that's why. Itachi thought and looked away. What's the matter? The nun questioned. Well, nothing. Issei replied with a smile. Everything's fine. Itachi replied with his normal deadpan expression. As they walked, they heard a little boy crying. They looked over to the side to see that a boy had scraped his knee. The young nun immediately rushed to the boy's aid. Yuma, Issei said. The young blonde nun petted the boy's head. Don't cry, it's just a scrape. You're a boy, after all. She placed her hands above the boy's knee and let out a green light. Suddenly 2 rings appeared on her hands, both on one side each. As the green light grew a little stronger, the wound began to heal. His wound, Issei muttered, and suddenly felt a pain in his arm. A sacred gear? Itachi questioned, looking at it with great interest, but then felt a stabbing pain. The nun finished healing the boy, and then the stabbing pain the Hayate brothers felt vanished. Look! Your wound's gone. It's all right now. The nun said, and then looked back to the brothers. Sorry, force of habit, she said, and playfully stuck out her tongue. As they kept walking towards the church, Itachi and Issei couldn't help but stare at her hands. If I'm not mistaken, that was a sacred gear, no doubt about it. And that stabbing pain I felt, there's no other explanation than Itachi thought. I must have surprised the two of you. The nun said. Well, you have a pretty amazing power, Issei said with a nervous laugh. It's a wonderful power granted by God. Yes, a wonderful power, she said the last part in a little sad tone. Oh, that must be the place. It has to be, it's the only church in town, Itachi said as they all looked towards a church upon a hill surrounded by a small area of trees. Great. Thank you so much, the nun said when the brothers suddenly gained a strange feeling of danger. But I haven't seen anyone over there, Issei said. Last time we were here we were just kids. Itachi said. I'd like to return the favor, so would the two of you like to accompany me? The nun asked. No, I'm afraid we have to get to school, Itachi replied, grabbing his brother by the shoulder. Yeah, school, Issei replied nervously. I see. My name is Asia Argento. Please call me Asia. The nun introduced herself. I'm Hayate Issei. You can call me Issei. I'm Hayate Itachi. You can call me Itachi. Issei-san, Itachi-san. I'm so happy to have met someone as kind as you two this quickly after arriving in Japan, Asia said with her pure smile. Well, Issei said with a small blush and a nervous chuckle. Please visit the church when the two of you find the time. Promise me, Asia said. Yes, sure. See you around, Issei said. Later, Itachi said as they both began to walk away. Yes, I hope so, Asia said, waving them off with a smile. Time skip, Ko Academy. Don't go near the church ever again, Rias ordered. Why not? Issei questioned. Churches are hostile territory to us devils. You'll incite fights between God and us devils just by stepping in there. And those guys will throw light spears at you too, Rias explained. I see, so the chill we got near the church was like a warning, Itachi said. Yes, it was your demonic instincts that detected danger. Staying around someone from the church is inviting death, especially since some of the church's exorcists even wield sacred gear, Rias explained. Then Issei began to remember what he and Itachi saw when Asia healed the injured little boy. Itachi, Issei. Yes, they both said in unison. To exorcise a devil means to annihilate him completely. Into nothingness. You turn into nothing. You feel nothing. You can do nothing. Do you know how that's like? Rias questioned. And no, Issei replied. Can't say I have. Itachi replied. Boy, if only he had remembered. Sorry if I sounded too upset. Anyhow, be careful from now on, Rias said and walked away. Understood. We will be careful, Itachi said, closing his eyes. Yeah, Issei agreed. Later on in the clubroom. It feels like all we've accomplished is getting yelled at by Bucho, Issei said. I don't know, I kind of like it, Itachi said, shocking Issei. What? Itachi asked the pale Issei. Don't tell me you're a masochist, Issei shouted in horror. Era, is it true? Do we have a little masochist here? Akino teased, appearing out of nowhere. No. It's not like that, Itachi said, a little embarrassed. Era. Are you sure? Akino asked, stroking Itachi's cheek while letting out a little chuckle. Itachi gained a small blush. Yes, I'm sure. I just like it because it helps me improve as a devil. There is nothing else to it. Too bad then, Akino sighed. Anyway, Bucho is just looking out for the two of you. Rias then entered the room. Akino, I thought you already went back. The Archduke just sent us a message, Aquino informed. The Archduke? Rias questioned. Apparently, a stray devil is on the loose in this town. Aquino informed with a serious expression, making Rias gain a serious expression. Later on they went into a certain area of the town in the woods through a magic circle. It used to be a servant to another devil. Kiba said. So like us then? Itachi asked. Sometimes, devils betray or kill their masters, so they can live doing whatever they please. That's what we call a stray devil. Kiba explained. We're headed to a deserted house. A stray devil is said to lure people into it to eat them. Aquino informed. Eat them? Issei questioned in shock. Tonight's mission is to bring it down. Aquino said. You shall see the utter monstrosity stemming from abuse of demonic power and being without a master. Kiba said as they entered the house. It did indeed look deserted. The furniture was there, but it was mostly ripped to shreds. Itachi. Issei. Rias said. Yes? Itachi questioned. Yes, Bucho? Issei questioned. I already know that Itachi is familiar with chess, but what about you, Issei? Rias asked. Chess? You mean the board game? Issei questioned. Is there anything else called chess? Itachi questioned, looking at his brother with a deadpan expression. I, the master, am the king. There's the queen, the knights, the rooks, the bishops, and the pawns. Devils form the aristocracy, assign the traits of these pieces to their subordinates. Rias explained. Traits of the pieces? Issei questioned. We call them evil pieces. Rias said. Why would you need to do that? Issei asked. Anyway, for tonight, observe closely how devils fight. Rias said. Why yes. Issei said. So you basically want us to sit back and watch? Itachi asked. Yes. Rias replied with a cute smile. She's here. Kaneko informed. I smell something bad. At the same time, I also smell something delicious. Will it be sweet? Or will it be bitter? A creepy female voice said. As a topless girl with huge stepped out, she had long dark hair and gray eyes. She also had long red fingernails, and her lower half was covered by shadow. However, something didn't feel right about it. A pay. Issei cheered. Stray demon type, Visser. Nefarious beings that run away from their masters to fulfill their own desires. They more than deserve death for their sins. In the name of Duke Gremory, I'll kick your ass. Rias declared. What an insolent girl. I'll cover you in blood as red as your hair. Visser said, rubbing her own. A line as witty as I'd expect from small fry. Rias mocked. This is a stray devil? She seems to be just an exhibitionist. Issei said with a perverted grin. That suddenly vanished when he saw Visser's lower body. The lower body was that of a gigantic beastly with 4 legs, each looking like a humanoid hand with sharp red claws, with a snake for a tail. She also had a cavity with teeth on her stomach. Her face also changed, now with her teeth looking more like piranha-like, pointed ears. I told you. They become ugly monsters in both body and heart. Kiba said. She has such nice a pay though. It's such a wasp, Issei said when suddenly Vissers became erect, making magic circles on them. Huh! Isn't that a magic circle? Issei questioned when Visser shoot yellow laser beams out from her boobs. Issei was distracted until Itachi pulled him out of harm's way, now with his Sharingan activated. When the laser beams hit the walls they began to melt. No joke. She is a monster, don't let your guard down just because you see some. Itachi scolded. Yuto! Rias commanded. Kiba grabbed a hold of his sword and vanished at high speed. He disappeared. Issei said. He's so fast you can't see him. Rias corrected. Well, I can. Itachi said as his eyes looked like they were following every single move. What? Rias questioned. Yeah, in my eyes, he's actually moving slow. I can tell that he's faster than Visser due to the fact that he moves much faster than her. Itachi explained. Impressive, they can even detect Yuto's movements with ease. Rias muttered. Anyway, Yuto represents a knight, so his trait is speed and the sword is his strongest weapon. Rias said as Kiba sliced of Visser's front legs as well as the snake tail, making Visser shriek in pain as blood gushed out. Kaneko walked up to Visser. It's dangerous, Kaneko-chan. Issei said. Die. Visser shouted as her stomach mouth devoured Kaneko. Issei gained a shocked expression, while Itachi just widened his eyes a little. Don't worry, Rias assured. When suddenly Kaneko forced the mouth open with her clothes being slightly tattered. Kaneko is a rook. Her traits are simple, tremendous strength and defensive ability. That kind of attack won't even scratch her. Fly. Kaneko simply said before slamming her tiny fist into Visser's stomach mouth, breaking it, and made some of the teeth get broken off. Visser crashed into a pillar. Guess you shouldn't make her angry, huh? Itachi said with a deadpan expression. While Issei was sweating bullets while nodding. Aquino! Rias ordered. Yes, Bucho. Aquino replied with her usual smile. Era. What should I do? Itachi then noticed one of Visser's severed legs moving. Itachi then went in front of Rias, bringing out his katana and sliced Visser's limb in 2. You should never let your guard down, right? Itachi asked with a smirk. Thanks. Rias said with a small blush. Aquino, finish her off. A bad girl who tries to harm our Bucho needs to be punished. Aquino said as lightning flickered around her hands. She's the queen. The almighty vice commander combining the powers of all other pieces. Rias explained. Era. You still seem to have some energy left. Then how about this? Aquino asked, sending a wave of lightning down on Visser, electrocuting her. She specializes in attacks using demonic powers. On top of that, she is, Rias said. Era. You're still energetic. Aquino said with a small blush, while licking herself around the mouth. A complete sadist. Rias said. I wonder how long you can bear it. Aquino said, bringing down even more lightning upon Visser while laughing. Wait. That means when she said too bad then about me not being a masochist. This is what she had in mind? Itachi asked, looking a little pale. Aquino, that's enough. Rias said as Aquino stopped and Visser fell to the ground. We're already done? That's a little disappointing. Aquino said with a small blush on her face. Rias walked up to Visser. Any last words? Kill me. Really? Then you shall vanish. Rias said and formed a magic circle. Checkmate. She sent a dark red wave at Visser, obliterating her completely. We're done. Now, let's go back. Rias said with a cute smile. Yes, Bucho. Everyone besides Issei and Itachi said in unison. Bucho. Issei said. What is it? Rias asked. So what about me? My piece, I mean, what's my role as a servant? Issei asked. A pawn. Rias replied. By pawn you don't mean? Yes, Issei, you're a foot soldier. Rias said. A foot soldier? Issei questioned. The lowest rank? No way, then what about me then? Itachi questioned. That's a little complicated. Rias said in a nervous tone while scratching her cheek. You see, what happened to you was, flashback, took 7 of my pawn pieces just to turn Issei into a devil. I have 1 left, guess I should try that on Itachi. Rias said to herself, and placed the last pawn piece on a dying Itachi's chest. Suddenly it began to glow and merge with his body. Success! Rias cheered. But then suddenly the piece got pushed back out. What the? The pawn piece floated out of Itachi's body and began to glow even more. Rias closed her eyes due to the immense light being so blinding. When the light died down she opened them, and what she saw was shocking. The pawn piece, it turned into a queen. Rias muttered in shock as the pawn piece had suddenly transformed into a queen. Then it let out another light. It mutated? Rias questioned in shock as it went inside Itachi's body again, merging with him. Flashback end. That's what happened. Rias said with a cute smile. So originally it was a pawn piece, but then it turned into a queen. Itachi questioned. That's about it, yeah, but having 2 queens would be troublesome. So how about we just say you're a pawn? Rias suggested. Sounds fine to me. Itachi replied, not really caring what piece he was. Time skip. Itachi and Issei were riding their bikes. Damn, to have servants, I need to be a high-class devil. Why couldn't I have been born a high-class devil like Bucho? Issei complained. Stop complaining, you'll get your little harem once you do a proper job and work your way up. Itachi said with a bored expression. But it's so much work. And top it off, I'm the weakest piece, a pawn. Issei cried. Look, we have gotten a request. If you and I actually get a contract this time, you will eventually get there. Itachi said. Easy for you to say, Mr. Good-looking. You don't even probably need to be a devil to get a harem. Issei shouted with tears of envy running down his cheeks. Why would I want a harem? Itachi questioned. It's every man's dream. That's why. Issei shouted with no shame whatsoever. Not mine. Itachi commented with a sweat drop. They then stopped in front of a house and Issei went to knock on the door. Hello? We're devils sent by Rias Gremory. Issei said as he rang the doorbell. Something doesn't feel right, Itachi said, narrowing his eyes in suspicion, and grabbed a hold of his katana. Why did you even bring that thing? Issei questioned. After almost dying twice, I'm not taking any chances. Itachi replied as he grabbed the door handle, only to discover the door was open. The door was left open. That's dangerous. Issei said and saw a light coming from the living room. Hello? We're servants of Gremory-sama. Is the client, Issei said and suddenly stopped. What's wrong? Itachi asked. I don't know. The moment I stepped in I got a bad feeling. Issei replied, looking around. Is anyone home? If you got a bad feeling, why would you ask that? Itachi questioned. I don't know. This shit is starting to feel like a horror movie. Issei replied. Yeah, only this time I'm not holding your hand. Itachi mocked. That only happened one time. Issei shouted. Right, you fainted the other time so you wouldn't remember. Itachi said and stepped inside the house. I did what? Issei questioned when Itachi grabbed him by the collar and dragged him inside. Come on. Itachi said. Wait, we didn't take off our shoes. Issei said. I have a feeling we wouldn't need to. Itachi said as he smelled something rotten. They entered the living room and Itachi looked around and then he froze. What is it? Issei questioned. Blood. Itachi bent down and saw a pool of blood leading to a limbless core with all the limbs laying in a pile over him. Issei covered his mouth like he was about to throw up. What is this? Punishment of the wicked. I'm quoting the holy scripture here. A man with short white hair that sat on the couch said, leaning his head in the 2 brothers' direction. He had red eyes and was wearing a black open coat with a white shirt underneath and a golden cross hanging around his neck. Well, if it isn't two devils. My name is Fried Selzen. A young priest who's part of a certain exorcist organization, Fried said while doing some dance moves. A priest? Issei questioned while Itachi readied his katana. Well, I'm definitely not some worthless shit like a devil, Fried said with an evil grin. Is that your doing? Issei questioned, pointing at the corpse. You're no longer human once you start depending on devils. End of the road. The end. That's why I killed him. Getting rid of shitty devils and even more worthless shits bedeviled by them is my job, Fried said, bringing out a gun and a sword handle that released a glow of light. A light sword, Itachi said, standing now in front of Issei. Oh, trying to defend your friend, are we? Doesn't matter anyway. I'll stick this sword into your hearts and score a lovely headshot with my fabulous gun. Fried charged at them and Itachi leaped at Fried, clashing his katana with Fried's light sword. Fried then brought out his gun and aimed at Issei. Bang! Fried shoot a bullet, but Itachi kicked Issei in the leg, making him fall down, dodging the bullet. Those are not ordinary bullets, Itachi noted himself. Correct, Fried praised. An exorcist's golden bullet, Fried said and directed the gun at Itachi's head. Would you like one? Damn you! Issei cursed and brought out his sacred gear and punched Fried in the face while Itachi kicked him in the gut, sending him flying into the wall. Now that's demonic. And what excellent teamwork. Now this is more exciting to exorcise, Fried said with a dark chuckle. Issei charged at him while Fried stepped to the side and raised his blade. That idiot, Itachi said and rushed in. 3 o'clock, Fried said and delivered a slice. Itachi had pushed Issei out of harm's way and got cut in the back by Fried. Huh! That's new for a devil, Fried mocked and raised his sword. Kayaya! A girl's shriek was heard, making everyone in the room to see Asia standing there looking at the corpse in horror. Oh, Asia-chan, my assistant. Are you done setting up the magical barrier? Fried asked Asia, who was shaking in fear, while Issei and Itachi had their eyes widened in shock at Asia's arrival. This is Asia muttered in horror. Oh, right, you're a beginner. This is our job. We kill off worthless people enchanted by devils, you see, Fried said with a devilish smirk. And no way, Asia said in disbelief and turned to Fried's direction and saw Issei and Itachi. Issei-san? Itachi-san? Asia? Issei questioned while Itachi just stared at her with a sad expression. What? You know them? Fried questioned. Why are the two of you? Asia questioned. Sorry. We're devils, Issei said, avoiding Asia's eyes. It's true, Itachi said in a sad tone. Devils? Issei-san and Itachi-san are? Asia questioned in shock. We weren't trying to fool you. That's why we thought it'd be best if we never met again, Issei said. No way, Asia said as tears formed in her eyes. Unfortunately, Asia-chan, devils and humans are incompatible. Not to mention we can't live without the protection of fallen angels, Fried said with a wicked grin. Fallen angels? Issei questioned. Well, let's get this done now, Fried said, bringing the sword towards the two brothers' necks. Are the two of you ready? Even if you aren't, here it comes, Fried said and raised his sword. When suddenly Asia went between Fried and the Haidu brothers. Asia? Issei said. Come on. Are you serious? Fried questioned with an annoyed expression. Father Fried, I beg you. Please forgive them. Let them go, please, Asia begged. Do you know what you're saying? Fried questioned. They may be devils, but Issei-san and Itachi-san are good people. And God won't forgive you for such a deed, Asia said. Don't give me that crap, Fried said and cut her robe, exposing her, making her cover them up with her hands. Asia! Issei shouted and charged at Fried, who dodged him and kicked him to the side. I'll deal with you later. You fucking bitch. Have you lost your mind? Fried asked as he stabbed his blade to the floor and grabbed her by the chin. Asia! Issei shouted. The fallen angel woman told me not to hurt you, but I think you need a little punishment, Fried said when suddenly Itachi punched him, sending him flying across the room. Take care of her, Itachi said and pushed Asia towards Issei. Asia! Issei said as he grabbed her. Seriously? You want to fight me? Fried said and picked up his blade. Fight you? No, I want to kill you, Itachi replied in a dark tone as his eyes turned red with 3 black tomos in them and a red dot in the center. Itachi then vanished at high speed and appeared behind Fried, who turned around instantly and was punched in the face. That hurt, Fried said and then spit out some blood. Interesting. I'm gonna set the record for making the finest human mincemeat ever, Fried said and leaped in the air with his sword raised above his head. Itachi got in stance when suddenly a red magic circle appeared where Kiba leaped out and clashed his sword with Fried's. Kiba? Issei questioned. Hey, thought you two might need some help, Kiba said. Not really, I was just about to kill the guy, Itachi said with a deadpan expression. Era, look at that, Akino said, stepping out from the magic circle. Exorcist, Kaneko said as she followed Akino out from the magic circle. You guys, Issei said in relief and went over to Itachi. Yahoo, I see all the devils are here, Fried said. Sorry, but they're with us, Kiba said. Oh, I like that. So what? The dark-haired one's the top and you're the bottom? Fried mocked with a sadistic grin. How vulgar. I can't believe you're a priest. Kiba said in disgust. Don't pretend like you're refined, damn devils. It's my purpose in life to hunt down maggots like you. Just shut up and let me kill you. Fried said. Even us devils don't jump on just anyone. Akino said, sending an intense glare of hate towards Fried. I like your intense stare. Could this be love? Or intent to kill? It's so exciting, no matter which side is doing the killing. Fried said, hugging himself. You should just disappear. Rias's voice was heard as a wave of destruction was sent at Fried. It seems you've been messing around with my adorable servants. Rias? Itachi questioned as he clenched his hand on his shoulder as the burning pain from the deep cut on his back began to feel like it was burning. Bucho? Issei questioned. Oh, are you the real deal? Yes, I've been messing around with them. Got a problem with that? Fried asked with a wicked smile. Rias ignored him and turned to Itachi and Issei. Are the two of you all right? Itachi? Issei? It's just a cut. I've been through worse. Itachi replied. I'm sorry. You just scolded me, but I did it again. Issei apologized. Rias placed her hand on their cheeks. You two are so beaten up. I'm sorry. I didn't know a stray exorcist was around. I never noticed it because there was a barrier set up until a little while ago. Fried went over to Asia and began to kick her. You damn bitch. It's your job to take care of the barrier, Asia. Issei shouted. It's my policy to show no mercy to anyone who hurts my servants. In particular, I can't stand when a vulgar fiend like you damages my property. Rias said and began to let out a red glow around her. Fried backed away a little. You look pretty damn powerful. I mean, this is pretty bad. Kaneko was holding a couch above her head when she began to sniff. Multiple fallen angels. Fried let out a laugh. I'm making a comeback. You'll all vanish in light, Bucho? Akino questioned. Retrieving Itachi and Issei is our priority for now. Akino, prepare a jump. Rias ordered. Yes. Akino said, forming a red magic circle. Kaneko, Yudo, I'll leave Itachi and Issei to you. Rias said. Roger. Kiba said. Sure. Kaneko said and threw the couch at Fried. Damn you devils, I won't let you go, hey. That hurts. Fried said as a couch fell upon him. Kiba was supporting Itachi while Kaneko had Issei above her shoulder. Issei then looked at Asia. Bucho. We should take her too. That's not possible. Only members of my household can use this magic circle to jump. Rias said. And no way. Asia. Let me go. I need to save Asia. Let me go. Asia. Issei struggled to get loose but failed. Issei-san, see you. We'll see each other again. Asia assured with a teardrop running down her cheek. Asia. Itachi whispered in a sad tone. Asia. Issei shouted as they teleported. Time skip. It's not really necessary. Itachi's voice was heard. Yes it is. Rias's voice was heard. No really, I'm fine. Itachi argued. You're not fine. Rias said. Please. I don't need any healing. Itachi said, standing naked in the shower room with a naked Rias hugging him from behind, pressing her up against his back. It's okay now. See, that wasn't so bad. Rias said, letting go of Itachi, who was using his hands to cover his lower area the best he could. It wasn't easy. Itachi was now sitting on the couch in the clubroom wearing his boxers as Akino bandaged his back from what was left of the cut. It seems like it will take a little while to heal completely. Akino said. That stray exorcist was able to wield quite strong powers of light. Rias said from the shower. Then, it's not just devils who become strays. Issei questioned. There are many who get expelled from the church and end up serving under a fallen angel. Kiba replied. Does that mean Asia is one of those stray exorcists? Issei asked. Either way, you are a devil and she is a servant of a fallen angel. Those are facts. Rias said, exiting the shower with a towel wrapped around her. Time skip. Itachi walked down the stairs to see that Issei stood at the door about to walk out. Where are you going? Itachi asked. I'm going to train and get stronger. Issei replied and rushed out of the door. Since when did you get a gym membership? Itachi questioned and stretched his arms. He's probably going to train at some park. Itachi said and went to the kitchen and grabbed a bottle of milk. Shouldn't you train as well? A voice that resembled Itachi's questioned in his head. You've been quiet for a while. What made you wanting to talk to me now? Itachi questioned. I may not have much to do in here, but this is your life and not mine. But if you trained you would be able to take down guys like that stray exorcist with just one attack. The voice replied. And how should I train? I'm already in good shape. I have won several fighting events in my life, and besides, who is supposed to train me? You? Itachi asked. I could, but you already have the power, you just need to learn to control it. Besides, I have been trying to show you several times different techniques. The voice replied. What do you mean showed me? Itachi questioned. Those dreams you have been having are dreams of our old life, dreams of techniques we used to know, and have seen other who uses the same elements as us use. And I know for a fact that you've been drawing and noting them down. The voice replied. Wait. I can actually do those things? Itachi questioned. Yes. All you have to do is control your chakra or magic power or whatever it's called nowadays. The voice replied. How do I do it? Itachi asked. First focus your chakra, then when you find it try and transport it around your body. Just focus and have a clear mind. The voice replied. Okay. Itachi said and closed his eyes and concentrating deep within. Suddenly a flare of blue aura appeared around him. This feels familiar. Try and channel chakra into your feet and walk on the wall. The voice said. Okay. Itachi opened his eyes and walked in front of the wall. He began to concentrate his chakra into his feet. Good, now keep focus and walk. Itachi took a deep breath and placed his right foot on the wall, and then the other one, and then he kept walking until he reached the ceiling. I did it. It actually worked. Itachi said in amazement. A red magic circle appeared where Rias exited. Itachi, I came here to check on how your brother's doing. Rias stopped as she stared at Itachi. What are you doing up there? Rias questioned in surprise. Rias? What are you doing here? Itachi said when he suddenly fell down to the ground. Oh. Okay, that hurt. Now what are you doing here? I came on to check how Issei was doing after what happened to that nun. But anyway, what were you doing? Rias questioned. Well, I was training. Itachi replied. Training? What kind of training? Rias asked. I was training on concentrating my energy. I've been having some dreams about different techniques for a while now, so I wanted to test one of them out. Itachi replied. Dreams? Rias questioned. Yeah, I've been taking some notes of them as well. Itachi replied. Mind showing them to me? Rias asked. Sure, they're in my room. Follow me. Itachi and Rias headed to Itachi's room, where Itachi brought out a drawing of the fireball technique with notes on them. Like this one. Rias took the drawing and looked at it. Interesting, and they work? Apparently they do. Itachi replied. Want to test this one out? Rias asked. Sure, but where exactly are we going to test it? Itachi questioned, not wanting to burn his house down. There is a lake in this town, why not go there? Rias replied with a smile. How many others do you have? A few more, although I think mastering them will be too much for me now. Itachi replied. Rias then formed a magic circle below them. Wait, we're going now? Yep. Rias replied with her cute smile as they teleported. They arrived at the lake just outside of town. It looked similar to the one in his dream. Well, go on, try it. Okay then. Let's see, first concentrate all of my energy, then the hand signs. Let's see, it went like this, I think. And then inhale. Itachi made the hand signs and began to inhale. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Itachi spitted out a small ball of fire. Guess that you still need to practice, Rias said when suddenly the fireball grew larger in size. Rias looked in awe at the blazing ball of flames burning across the lake. Amazing. When the flames died out, Itachi looked surprised. I did it, I spitted out a large ball of fire, Itachi muttered when he suddenly felt Rias hugging him from behind. You did well, keep growing stronger. Rias said. I will become strong enough to protect everyone, Mom, Dad, Issei, my fellow club members, and you, Rias. Itachi said, making Rias widen her eyes a bit while gaining a small blush. How about we head to the clubroom? Sure. Rias said and activated a magic circle, teleporting them to the clubroom where Kaneko was sitting on the couch eating some snacks. And Kiba was sitting on the couch across from her drinking tea. Bucho. Kaneko welcomed Rias. What were the two of you doing? Kiba asked. I've been watching Itachi training. He's already mastered 2 new techniques. Rias replied. 2 new techniques? What kind of techniques? Kiba asked. Well, Itachi said when suddenly Issei came through the door breathing heavily. Issei? How did your training go? Asia. I met Asia while I was training. I took her out, and then Yuma appeared. Issei replied. What? Itachi questioned. She took Asia over to that church. Bucho, we have to save her. Issei said then. Slap. Rias slapped Issei. How often must I tell you? It's not possible. Forget about her. You are a member of the Gremory household, then please kick me out of your household. I'll go alone to, Issei said with a determined expression. You're asking the impossible. Rias said. I'm just a pawn on the chessboard, right? Losing a single pawn shouldn't, Issei said. Enough. Rias shouted. Issei, do you really think the pawn is the weakest piece? As I said, evil pieces possess the same traits as their chess counterparts. What is the special trait of a pawn? Issei questioned. Promotion. Itachi and Rias replied in unison. If a pawn reaches the last of the enemy's lines, it can be promoted into any piece other than a king. Rias explained. I could have everyone else's power if I reach there? Issei questioned. As long as I, your master, recognize it as enemy lines, yes. For example, the church. Rias explained. Also, did you forget, when she explained about my piece she said that you took the 7 other pawns? Itachi pointed out. Wait. So it took 7 pawns to revive me? And the last pawn you gave to Nice turned into a queen, right? Issei asked. Yes, in a way you're my only pawn. That is if you don't count Itachi as one. Rias replied. And as for your sacred gear, it doubles my power, right? The fallen angel told me. Issei said the last part with sadness in his voice. Use your brain. Sacred gear is activated by its owner's will. The greater your willpower, the more powerful it will become. Rias said, My willpower? Issei questioned. Akino then walked up to Rias whispering something to her, to which Rias nodded. An urgent matter has come up. Akino and I will be out for a bit. Bucho, we aren't done talking, Issei said. Listen. Even with the help of promotion, a single piece won't stand a chance against a fallen angel. Rias said before she and Akino vanished through a magpie circle. Yes, I know that. Issei said and walked towards the door. Are you going? Itachi asked. Yeah. You can't stop me. Issei replied. You'll get killed. Kiba said. Even if that's so, I'll free Asia. Issei said. I'd like to praise your determination, but it's just too reckless. Kiba said. And stupid, don't forget stupid. Itachi commented. Shut up, you two. Issei said, then widened his eyes in confusion. Kiba grabbed a hold of his sword. I'll go with you. So will I. Itachi said, taking out his katana. You guys, Issei muttered. Bucho said, even with the help of a promotion, right? Kiba asked. Yeah. Issei replied. She also recognized the church as enemy lines. Kiba said. Then Issei said, come on, you can't be that slow. She implied that we should help you and back you up. Itachi said with a motionless expression. Kaneko-chan too? Issei questioned. You three going alone would worry me. Kaneko said, also with a motionless face. Meanwhile, outside the church in the woods with the moon shining on the church. This is so boring. Why do I have to stand guard? A blonde girl with her hair tied into twintails said, sitting on a tree branch. She wore a black gothic Lolita dress with white frills, and a large black bow on the front. She had black shoes and white thigh-high socks. She also has a large black bow in the top of her hair. Then a red magic circle appeared with Rias and Akino appearing from it. Look who's here. People call me the fallen angel Middlet. Middlet introduced herself. Era, how courteous of you. Akino said, my servant sensed you. You must be scared about us being on the move. Rias mocked, not at all. It's just that we don't want devils interrupting our important ritual. Middlet said with a confident smile. Era, I'm so sorry. Our cheerful kids just went there. Akino said with her usual smile. Wait, really? Are you serious? Middlet questioned. Yes. Boldly through the front gate. Akino replied. Damn it. I figured you'd be sneaking in from the back. Well, how many lackeys you bring doesn't really matter anyway. It won't be a problem. After all, you two are the only ones who actually stand a chance of interrupting us. Thanks for coming all the way out here. Middlet said with confidence. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to join them. Rias said with a smile. Oh, you're abandoning them? Middlet questioned. Meanwhile with Itachi, Issei, Kiba and Kaneko. What a strong murderous intent. Issei said. There must be a lot of priests gathered. Kiba said. Seriously? I'm so relieved you came with me. Issei said in relief. We're a team, after all. And personally, I'm not overly fond of fallen angels and priests. I despise them. Kiba said with hate. Kiba? Issei questioned as Kaneko and Itachi walked up to the gate. Huh? Nisan? Kaneko-chan? There's no point in hiding if they already know we're here. Itachi said and looked over to Kaneko. Kaneko, if you would, Itachi said as Kaneko kicked in the door. They looked around to see several destroyed statues and a destroyed cross. This is terrible. Issei commented as they heard the sound of clapping. Hey! We meet again. I'm getting sentimental. Fried said as he walked to the center of the room. Fried! Issei said with hatred. I never thought I'd meet the same devil twice. You know, I'm super strong, so once I meet one of your kind he gets this treatment. Fried said as he placed his hand on his neck and referred to beheading someone. That's why I'm pissed. About you devil trash hurting my pride. Fried said as he brought out his gun and light sword. Where's Asia? Issei asked. Oh, the junk sister who fell for a devil? She's at the underground ritual site you can reach through that altar. Fried replied. Underground, huh? Kiba said. Well, if you can get past me, that is. Fried said. Kiba readied his sword and Itachi readied his katana. Sacred gear. Issei shouted as his red gauntlet appeared. Get crushed. Kaneko said as she threw a church bench at Fried, who cut it in half with his light sword. You're one insolent midget. Fried said. Midget? Kaneko questioned, narrowing her eyes in anger, and threw several church benches at Fried, who ran to the side dodging them. Kiba then leaped from the air charging at Fried. Insolent. Fried said as they clashed swords. Insolent. Fried shoot from his gun several times. You piss me off. You're annoying. Fried shouted in anger as Kiba and him went head to head with their blades. You're not too bad. Kiba said. You're not too shabby either. It seriously makes me want to kill you. Fried said and brought his gun up to Kiba's head, but then, slice. Itachi sliced the gun in two with his katana and kicked Fried back a few steps. My beautiful gun! You damn bastard, that's not fair. Fried cursed in anger. This is a fight to the death. In other words, nothing is fair. Itachi said calmly. I guess I'll get a little serious then. Kiba said as his sword turned black, letting out a dark energy. Fried and Kiba charged at each other with their blades clashing, but Fried's light sword looked like it was about to fade away. What is this? Fried questioned. Holy Eraser, the sword of darkness that consumes light. Kiba replied. You got a sacred gear as well? Fried questioned in anger, as his sword almost vanished. Kiba also has a sacred gear? Issei questioned as Kiba pushed Fried back. Issei-kun! Kiba shouted. Activate! Issei shouted. Boost! The gauntlet let out a green glow. Meanwhile with Rias and Akino. Well, anyway, you know, if I defeat you, their master, the servants will be nothing. Come forth, Calawarner. Middle said, bringing out her fallen angel wings. And a portal appeared where Calawarner exited. You're acting cocky. I need to pay back your servants. Calawarner said. Era, another one is here. Akino said, showing no sign of being worried, back with the others. Promotion. Rook. Issei charged at Fried with his fist raised. For real? Fried questioned. Then Issei punched him in the face. It hurts. Fried shouted as he was sent flying across the room. You've done terrible things to Asia. Now I feel a little better. Issei said with a smirk. Stop. Stop fucking with me, twerp. Fried said and brought out 2 new light swords when Kaneko threw a church bench at him. It hurts. Kiba then tried to slice him, but he ran up to the altar. I don't want to be killed by a devil. So, farewell. Fried said and threw something on the floor that let out a large light, and then he was gone. He ran off. Issei said, we should hurry. Itachi said, yeah, let's go. Kiba said as Kaneko went up to the altar and punched it, reviling a tunnel, back with Rias and Akino. You will repent with your life for trying to interrupt us. Calawarner said, bringing out his fallen angel wings, and took flight next to Middle. Akino. Rias said, got it, Bucho. Akino said as her outfit changed into a white shrine-made outfit. What? Are you trying to pull me into a cosplay show? Middle accused when Akino formed a barrier around them. A barrier? Calawarner questioned. Isn't this pretty bad? Middle questioned. Akino had lightning flickering around her hand. You can't get out of this cage, I'm afraid. Akino said and licked the tip of her finger. So this was your plan all along? Calawarner said, yes. We came to get rid of all of you. My sincerest apologies. Akino replied, you think we're birds? Middle questioned, you'll just vanish. Rias said with a confident smile, enjoy posing. Once the ritual is over, even you won't be able to stand in Rainer's way. Calawarner said, back with the others. They ran down the stairway and into the underground lair where there were several priests and Rainer with Asia hanging in chains on some cross. Welcome, devils, you're late. Rainer mocked. Asia. Issei shouted. Issei-san? Asia questioned weakly. Asia, I'm coming now. Issei said as he was about to run up to Asia, but Itachi pulled him back as a light spear crashed where Issei stood, pushing them into the wall. Sorry to ruin the dramatic reunion, but the ritual is almost over. Rainer said as Asia began to scream in pain. What are you doing to Asia? Issei questioned. I see. The fallen angel's objective was to take her sacred gear. Kiba informed. Take her sacred gear? Itachi questioned. What'll happen to Asia? Issei questioned as Asia continued to scream in pain. She will die. Kiba replied as they saw a green orb float out from Asia containing some rings. Asia is going to die? Issei questioned in horror. Your twilight healing is finally mine. Reina said with an evil smirk. Issei's eyes were wide in shock. Sweat ran down his forehead as he began to shake. Asia! Issei shouted, seeing the light vanish from Asia's eyes. I have been craving this power for many years. With this power I can conquer love. Absolute power! Rainier said as she brought the green orb to her chest, making her let out a little moan as a green light was released around her. I can now become the supreme fallen angel. I can now pay back those who insulted me. Rainier said with an evil grin as a green aura flared around her. Don't give me that crap. Issei said and charged towards her. You devil! A priest shouted as they all brought out a light sword. We will destroy you, fuck off. I don't have time to deal with you. Issei blocked one of the light swords with his sacred gear gauntlet, and punched a guy in the face. Another priest charged from the side, but Kiba leaped in and blocked the light sword with his own, absorbing the light with the darkness, and then pushed him back to Kaneko, who lifted him up and threw him to the side. Damn you! A priest shouted, bringing out a gun. Then Itachi appeared and sliced the gun in half with his katana and kicked the priest in the chest, sending him back. Kiba? Kaneko-chan? Nisan? Thanks, guys. Issei said as he ran up to Rainier and Asia. Asia! Issei shouted and began to slowly walk towards the nun. Asia, this is your reward for getting this far. Rainier said and flicked her fingers, loosing up the chains holding Asia, making her fall into Issei's arms. Asia, are you alright? Issei questioned as he held her in his arms. Asia slowly opened her eyes and looked at Issei. Issei-san, I'm here for you. Hang in there. Issei said with a sad smile. Yes. Asia said weakly. You can have her. Rainier said with a smug smile. Stop messing with me. Give back her sacred gear. Issei shouted in anger while looking hatefully at Rainier. Rainier let out an evil chuckle. Don't be ridiculous. I even lied to my superiors to carry out this plan. And unfortunately, you guys are witnesses to that. Reina said and formed a light spear in her hand. But dying together with her is not so bad, is it? Issei. Itachi shouted as he sliced the priest down. We're at a disadvantage here. Kiba shouted. You were my first girlfriend, Issei said. Yeah, I was amazed you were so innocent. It was fun leading a guy who's inexperienced with girls. Reiner mocked. I was going to cherish our relationship, Issei said in anger. Reiner let out a laugh that made her sound like she did when she was Yuma. You became so caring when I even looked slightly troubled. But that was all only pretense. To see your silly face when confused and at your wit's end. Reiner said in her Yuma voice. Yuma-chan, I really loved you, and I carefully planned out our first date. I was determined to make it a fantastic one, Issei said in a sad tone. Reiner let out a laugh. Oh yeah? Nothing could have gone wrong with that date. But that also made it freaking boring, Reiner said now with her own voice. Issei. Itachi shouted as he kept fighting of the priests now with his eyes red with 3 black tomos and a black dot in the center. Why don't you just end this quickly, and kill that fallen angel? The voice asked in Itachi's head. If I could I would, Itachi said as he stabbed a priest in the chest and ducked from a light sword swinging towards his head. He then pulled the sword out from the priest's chest and slit the other one's throat. I guess I don't have a choice, use the shadow clone jutsu, the voice said. The what now? Itachi questioned. Itachi-senpai. Who are you talking to? Kiba questioned as he fought of several priests. You know, the one that makes a copy of yourself, the voice replied. Oh, that one, okay, but can I do it? Itachi questioned. I will supply you with my own chakra, you won't lose any of your own. Just do the hand signs already, the voice ordered. Fine, Itachi said as he leaped back and made a hand sign. Shadow clone jutsu. A puff of smoke appeared in front of him, as a slightly older version of himself leaped out, wearing a black high-collared cloak with red clouds on them, also wearing a headband with a metal plate that had a symbol on it that was cut over. He had red eyes with 3 black tomos and a black dot in the center. What the? Itachi questioned. Name's Itachi Uchiha. I will show is done, Itachi's clone said. Kiba! Kaneko! Back away! Itachi Uchiha charged into the crowd of priests who charged at him as well. Itachi Uchiha ran into the crowd, pushing several of them to the side. He leaped up in the air and brought out several kunai knives and threw them, hitting several priests in the chest, making them scream in pain before they fell over dead. What the? Who is that? A priest questioned as he was kicked in the throat, making him gasp for air, and he was then stabbed by a kunai. What is he? He's supposed to be a clone, isn't he? Why is he so strong? Where does all that power come from? Reiner questioned in horror, as she felt the amount of power the clone was releasing. Meanwhile, with Rias and Aquino, 2 light spears flew towards Rias, but Aquino leaped in front of her, making a defensive magic circle that blocked the spears. Not bad, Middle said, but we'll see how long that fragile barrier can last. Calawarner said, or were we supposed to let the others go because of it? No. We won't let you escape. Your servants should be in for a beating by now. Middle stopped as they all began to feel a powerful presence coming from the church. What is that? Is it Reiner? No. It's something else, Calawarner said with sweat running down her forehead. It's at the level of an ultimate class devil, and it feels like Itachi, only more despair and sadness, Rias said with wide eyes in shock. Back with the others. What is he? A priest shouted. He's a monster! Another one shouted. Itachi Uchiha leaped in the air, spinning upside down with several kunais in his hands. He threw them into several directions. What's he doing? He won't hit any of them like that, Kiba said. Itachi Uchiha brought out 2 more kunais, throwing them into 2 others, making them bounce of each other. Then they collided with 4 others, making them bounce of each other, and so on and so on. They then all hit several priests in their back, chests, necks, heads. Itachi Uchiha then leaped back to the ground and back flipped, making some distance between him and the priests. Fire style, majestic destroyer flame. He spitted out a wave of flames that later, as it got closer to the priests, spread itself over a wide area, burning the remaining of them into ashes. Issei took this chance and ran off with Asia in his arms. He ran over to Itachi, Kiba and Kaneko, who were all staring in awe at Itachi Uchiha. Itachi Uchiha stood in a position where they could see the right half of his emotionless face as the flames burned violently in front of him. Cool, Kaneko muttered in awe. I'll go on ahead, Issei shouted as he ran up the stairs leading to the altar. Yeah, Itachi replied as he stared at Itachi Uchiha in amazement. Itachi Uchiha walked towards the others. I have cleared out the small fry. I will leave the rest to you. Who are you? Itachi asked. I'm you, in a previous life, that is, Itachi Uchiha replied as he vanished in a puff of smoke. Itachi stared still in shock when he felt someone pulling on his sleeve. He looked down and saw Kaneko. What? He's you from a previous life? Kaneko asked. Itachi nodded. Apparently so. Kaneko looked at Itachi with an emotionless expression. Senpai used to be cool, Kaneko said with her sharp words hitting Itachi's pride like a knife. Used to? Itachi questioned in depression. He dares to run away. I wasn't even finished, Reiner said, flying down to them. Itachi readied his katana and charged at her. Reiner leaned over to the side, dodging him. Itachi then turned around and threw some shurikens that flew past Reiner. Is that all? Reiner questioned when she noticed the thin wire next to her. Itachi moved his fingers, making the shurikens fly back and spin around her, tying her up. Itachi then placed the end of the wires in his mouth and made a few hand signs. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Itachi spitted out a ball of fire that burned through the wires, hitting Reiner, who screamed in pain. Reiner then flew out of the flames with several burn marks on her body. She then let out an evil grin as she placed her own arms around herself. 2 rings then appeared on her fingers that let out a green light, healing her injuries. Damn it! Itachi cursed and leaped up with katana raised above his head. Let's see if you can heal a severed head. Reiner made a light spear and threw it at Itachi. Itachi then did the same hand signs. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Itachi spitted out a ball of fire that collided with the light spear, making an explosion. Meanwhile, with Issei and Asia. Issei gently placed Asia on a bench. Asia, hang in there. You'll be free once we get out of here. We can have fun together, always. Issei said and grabbed Asia's hand. It wasn't for long, but I'm happy I was able to make a friend. Asia said with a happy, weak smile. What are you saying? There are so many places I want to show you. Karaoke bars, amusement parks, bowling alleys will also get more Rakukans. And that's not all. You know, things like right, I should introduce you to my friends as well. Matsuda and Motohama. They're a bit perverted, but they're really nice guys. I'm sure they'll be your friends, Asia. Issei said as tears ran down his face. And we'll have a huge party. A ridiculously huge one. If I had been born here and had gone to school with you, it would have been so wonderful, Asia said with a weak smile. Let's go. No, you are coming. I'll take you. Issei said with a smile while crying. Then Asia placed her hand on his cheek. You're crying for me. I couldn't ask for more, thank you. Asia said as tears formed in her eyes, and she closed her eyes as her hand that was on Issei's cheek fell down. Issei stared at her lifeless, smiling corpse. Asia? Why? Why did you have to die? You were a kind girl that'd cure anyone who was injured, even devils. Hey God, I know you're there. Don't take her. Please, I beg you. She didn't do anything. She just wanted some friends. Won't you listen because I'm a devil? Does her life mean nothing because she became friends with the devil? Please, God. Issei cried as he held Asia's corpse in his arms. A devil, repenting in a church? That's one nasty joke. Reina said with an evil smile. Reiner! Issei shouted in anger. Meanwhile, with Rias and Aquino. You think those servants of yours can beat Reiner-sama? As she is now, none of you will stand a chance against her. Especially not that perverted pawn of yours. Calawarner said. She's his ex-girlfriend, after all. Reiner-sama told us about what she did to him. It was hilarious. Middle mocked. I have to admit it was really funny. But that older brother of his that killed Donasik, he's cute, maybe Reiner-sama will let us keep him as a pet. Calawarner shouted as both her and Middle threw a light spear at Rias. Bucho! Aquino shouted, then Rias flared up with a red aura that bounced the light spears away. It bounced off of her. Calawarner questioned in shock. You made fun of my servant. And threatened to steal another. Rias said as she let out a massive aura of power. Era, you shouldn't have made her upset, you silly angels. Aquino said as Rias sent a dark red wave at them. The 2 fallen angels widened their eyes in horror as the wave approached them. Back with Issei. Look, it was your brother and that night boy who did this to me on the way here. Reina said, showing Issei a cut and some burn marks on her arm. Where are Anai-san, Kiba and Kaneko-chan? Issei questioned. Reiner released a green light from her hand that was above the injured arm. Isn't this wonderful? It can heal everything. It's a wonderful ability for us fallen angels since we no longer have divine protection. This firmly secures my status as a fallen angel. Reina said as she healed her injuries away. I can assist the great Azazel-sama and Shemhazai-sama, like I'd care. Issei said in hatred, making Reiner direct her attention to him. She never discriminated between fallen angels and devils. This is the destiny of the chosen ones, those endowed with the sacred gear. Reiner said, that's no destiny. She could have lived a peaceful life. Issei shouted in anger. No, she couldn't. Reiner argued. What? Issei questioned. Sacred gears are too much for a human to handle. No matter how wonderful they are, unusual powers are bound to be feared and their wielders shunned. That's simply the way it is. That's just how humans are. Even with such a wonderful power. Reiner replied, but I am Asia's friend. I tried to protect her as a friend. Issei said, but she died. Reiner said with an evil laugh. That girl's dead. What you tried is irrelevant. You failed to protect her back then and now as well. I know. That's why I can't forgive either of us. I can't forgive any of it. Give her back. Give Asia back. Issei shouted as a green light appeared on his hand. Dragon Boost. Issei activated his red sacred gear gauntlet and charged at Reiner, who flew in the air, dodging it, landing behind him. Like I said, twice nothing is still nothing. Reiner said. Boost. Issei charged again, but Reiner just flew up in the air, dodging it. You may have gotten a little stronger, Reiner said with an evil grin and threw 2 light spears into Issei's knees. Light is deadly poison to devils. Just coming into direct contact with it burns them. It causes devils sharp, excruciating pain, especially if they're low-class devils like you. So what? Issei said as he pulled out the light spears. Compared to Asia's suffering, this is, Issei said as blood gushed out from his knees. Nothing at all. Boost, that's quite impressive. You did well for a low-class devil. I commend you, Reiner said with an evil smirk. Issei then fell to the ground. My power, but that's your limit. A typical low-class devil would have died long ago. You're a tough guy, Reiner said. Lord, I guess that won't work. Since I'm a devil, it'd have to be the demon lord. I'm sure there's one. I'm a devil, so can you grant me a favor? Issei said. What are you babbling about? Did the pain make you insane? Reiner questioned with a chuckle. Please, Issei said as he slowly got back up. I don't need anything else. Impossible. You've got to be kidding me, Reiner said with a shocked expression. So give me power to punch this bitch, Issei shouted as his devil wings popped out from his back. Reiner slowly backed away. You shouldn't be able to stand. The light must be burning your entire body from the inside out. A low-class devil without the ability to alleviate light should be unable to take it. Yeah, it hurts. It really hurts, Issei said, and every step he took Reiner slowly backed away. I feel like I'll lose consciousness any second. But I'm so pissed off at you that it doesn't matter in the slightest. Explosion! Issei's gauntlet began to transform. It grew more spikes and Issei's fingers were now covered in some red claws. The gauntlet began to let out a powerful green light. A mid-class shockwave? No, even stronger. And no way. That sacred gear is just a twice critical. How? Reiner questioned in fear. Issei slowly walked towards her. Impossible! Reiner shouted in fear as she threw a light spear. Issei just swung his arm at it, destroying it. Reiner in a desperate attempt tried to fly away, but Issei leaped at her and grabbed her arm. You're not going anywhere, bitch! Issei shouted in anger. I'm the supreme, Reiner muttered in fear. Die, damned angel! Issei shouted and punched her throughout the window. Serves you right, Issei said and was about to fall down but was helped up by Itachi. Nisan, you surprised me, their little brother, Itachi said with a smile. I didn't expect you to defeat a fallen angel on your own, Kiba said arriving at the scene. You're late, handsome prince, Issei joked. Rias ordered us to stay back and not get in the way, Itachi said. She did? Issei questioned. I did. I knew you could defeat her, Rias said standing at the altar. Bucho, Issei said. I was done with my business, so I teleported to the basement here. I was surprised to see so many burned corpses, so I had Itachi, Yudo and Kaneko explain what happened. Then I told them to let you deal with the fallen angel, Rias said. Kaneko opened the door, dragging Reiner with her. Bucho, I brought her, Kaneko said and threw her to the floor. Nice to meet you, fallen angel Reiner, Rias said, making Reiner look up to face her. My name is Rias Gremory, heiress apparent of the Gremory family. So you're the girl from the Gremory family, Reiner said. Nice to meet you, though it won't be for long. Also, Rias said and dropped 3 black feathers in front of Reiner. I blasted away your friends. The 3 who came visiting. Blasted away? Issei questioned. Bucho is known as Crimson-Haired Ruin Princess, or Princess of Destruction, Kiba explained. Destruction? I never knew I was serving such a master, Issei said. Powerful, Itachi commented. Gremory girl, how dare you, Reiner said. When Itachi killed that Donasek, I figured there were fallen angels in this town, and I knew you were scheming something. We wouldn't have interfered if you hadn't caused us trouble, but Rias said. Bucho, was this for me then? Issei questioned. Rias looked at Issei and noticed his sacred gear. Issei, that sacred gear, I don't know when, but its shape changed, Issei said. A red dragon. Oh, I get it now. Fallen angel Reiner, this kid Hayato Issei's sacred gear is not a mere twice critical, Rias said. What? Reiner questioned. Known to double its holder's power every 10 seconds, allowing any who possess it to surpass even the devil or god in power temporarily. It is one of the 13 Longinus, the gauntlet of the Emperor of Red Dragon, boosted gear, Rias explained, making Reiner widen her eyes in horror. A kid like him has the ominous sacred gear known to bring ruin even to God. Reiner questioned. It may be potent, but it takes time to power up, so it's not almighty. You only won because your enemy let her guard down, Rias said, looking at Issei, but then she looked at Itachi, and then back to Reiner. Not only that, but his brother, Hayato Itachi, possess a sacred gear that we have only heard about in legends and ancient history. I wasn't sure what it was at first, but when they told me about Itachi's clone, who called himself Itachi Uchiha, I knew instantly what it was. The Sharingan, an ability that used to be a bloodline trait among a certain group of people. The people who possessed those eyes were said to be able to become gods themselves. And apparently God has made it into a sacred gear, into the body of this boy, the reincarnation of a member of the mighty, extinct, Uchiha clan. Rias said, making Reinair shake in fear. Uchiha, the clan of monsters, the mortal said to be able to surpass even God. Reinair muttered in fear. Begone, fallen angel. Rias said. Issei-kun. Reinair said, having changed her appearance back into when she was Yuma. Help me. I said mean things, but I had no choice. It was my duty as a fallen angel. Yuma-chan? Issei questioned. Look, I still have this. It's proof of what I said. You remember this, right? You bought it for me. Yuma said with fake tears in her eyes while showing the gift Issei got for her on their date. Why do you still have that? Issei questioned. I just couldn't throw it away, because Yuma replied. This is bad, Kaneko-chan. Kiba said, to which Kaneko nodded. They were about to interfere, but Rias stopped them. Itachi was watching this scene with his bangs covering his eyes, as well as he was clenching his fist in anger. Save me, Issei-kun. Yuma said. You are so bucho, please. Issei said and walked away from Reinair. Rias walked up but stopped when she felt a hand on her shoulder. She looked behind her and saw Itachi. Itachi? Rias questioned. Itachi lifted his head up, showing his red glowing Sharingan that began to change its shape into a black pinwheel. Itachi glared at Reinair in anger as a trail of blood dripped from his eyes. Don't you dare seduce my brother! Itachi said in anger. Burn away! Itachi said in a hateful tone. Reinair stared at Itachi in fear when suddenly black flames burned around her body, making her scream in pain. Itachi widened his eyes more in anger, making the flames burn more violently. Ayaha! Reinair's screams were heard echoing through the church. When the screams stopped, Itachi narrowed his eyes as the black flames died down, showing that nothing but her ashes remained, as well as a green floating orb containing 2 rings. Itachi began to look dizzy as he fell down unconscious and was caught by Rias. He pushed himself too much, Rias said, and took out a handkerchief, wiping away the blood trail from his eyes. He used a power he shouldn't be able to use at the moment. No wonder he's exhausted, Rias said, and gently placed Itachi on the ground. She then took the green orb. Let's return this to her. Yes, Issei said, and took the orb with the rings and walked over to Asia's body. He placed 1 ring on each of her hands. Bucho, I'm sorry. After talking big, even with help from all of you, I couldn't save Asia. Issei cried. It's okay. You just lacked experience as a devil. No one will blame you. Rias said. But Issei cried. It's unheard of, but it's worth trying. Rias said and brought out a bishop piece. What do you think this is? A chess piece? Issei questioned. A bishop, to be exact. Akino said, arriving through a magic circle. Akino-san? Issei questioned. A bishop's task is to support other devils in the household. Her healing abilities would make her a capable bishop. Rias said. Bucho, do you mean? Issei muttered. She's going to make her a new member to her household, isn't that right? Itachi said, having woken up, still laying on the floor looking up to the ceiling. You're already awake? Rias questioned. Yeah, although I can't move my body at all. Itachi replied. I see, Yudo, help him up. Rias ordered. Yes. Kiba replied and walked up to Itachi and supported him up. Your brother's right though, shall we try and recruit us a nun? Rias said with a smile. In the next moment, Asia's body was laying on a red magic circle. I, Rias Gremory, hereby order you, heed me, Asia Argento. Bring your soul back to this world, and become my servant devil. You shall become my bishop and rejoice in your newfound life. Rias chanted as a red light enveloped Asia's body and the piece merged with her. Bucho, how's Asia? Issei asked. Quiet. Rias said as Asia's body began to twitch and she slowly began opening her eyes. Asia? Issei said as Asia slowly got up. Huh? Asia questioned. I only resurrected her because I wanted her ability to heal even us devils. You'll be taking care of her as her senpai devil, Rias said. Asia looked a little confused. Issei-san? My. Issei leaped in and hugged her. Let's go back, Asia, Issei said as tears of happiness formed in his eyes. Time skip, the clubroom. Good morning, Itachi said and entered the clubroom. Good morning, Issei said, following his brother. Rias sat on the couch taking a sip of tea. Oh, the 2 of you are here. How are your wounds? Rias asked Issei. Well, completely cured thanks to Asia's healing ability, Issei replied. She's already doing her job as a bishop, eh? No wonder the fallen angels wanted it, Rias said, and then she turned to Itachi. By the way, have you been able to talk with this Uchiha? No, he tends to be quiet. Last time I talked to him was after what happened at the church. He told me that the only reason I was able to use that black flame was because of my rage, and that I would need training if I were to ever use it again, Itachi replied. I tried to ask him about the Uchiha clan, but then he got really quiet. I see. Well, I only know about them through stories I heard when I was just a kid. Nothing much is known about them other than what the Devil History Archive has told us, Rias said. They were even known as red-eyed demons by all supernatural beings, Rias said, and went up behind Itachi and hugged him. Humans with as much potential as you and your brother are very rare. Crimson-haired ruined princess and the red-eyed demon both are red, so it's a perfect match. Well, the same could be said about us and Issei, Itachi said with a deadpan expression. You said you wanted to become stronger to protect all of us. That's a good goal. Both of you should aim to be the strongest. The two of you should be able to do it. Rias said. The strongest? That's a good goal. Now I'm one step closer to become harem king. Issei shouted with no shame. What about you, Itachi? What do you want to be? Rias asked. I don't really know. Guess for now I will just work my way up in the world. Itachi stopped when he felt something soft pressing up against his forehead. He looked to see that Rias was kissing his forehead. What was that about? Itachi asked with a hint of red on his face. It's a good luck charm. Grow strong, Rias said with a smile. Bucho. What about me? Issei questioned. I'm afraid if I do that, after all, the newcomer might get jealous. Rias said with a wink. Jay jealous? Issei questioned and looked at Itachi, who was pointing at the door. Issei-san? Asia said, now dressed in the Ko-Academy school uniform. Asia? Issei questioned. Of course, since Rias-san Rias Bucho is beautiful, so it's no wonder you're attracted to her. No. I shouldn't be thinking like that, Asia said while forming some tears in her eyes. God, please forgive my sinful soul, Asia said when she suddenly felt a stabbing pain in her head. What's the matter? Issei questioned. My head hurts all of a sudden, Asia replied while holding her hands on her head. Of course. You've become a devil, Rias said. Right. I'm a devil now, Asia said. Do you regret it? Rias asked with her usual smile. No, I'm very grateful. I'm happy to be close to Issei-san like this, no matter what I am, Asia said. So pure and innocent. Issei do anything weird to her, and you're dead, Itachi threatened. I won't do anything, Issei shouted back and then looked back at Asia. Wait, those clothes, do they look good on me? Asia asked, spinning around. Are you transferring to this school? Issei questioned. My father is involved with the school's management, so it wasn't a problem, Rias said. Just how much power does your family have over this school? Itachi questioned with a sweat drop. Morning, Itachi-san, Issei-kun, Kiba said, entering the room with Kaneko. Good morning, Itachi-senpai, Issei-senpai, Kaneko said with her usual emotionless expression. Era, you're all here. We'll be having a party for our newest member, Akino said, bringing in a cake. Itachi stared at the cake with stars in his eyes. What's wrong with him? Rias asked. Nisan has a bit of a sweet tooth, Issei replied with a nervous chuckle. Itachi, Rias said, gaining his attention. Yes? Itachi questioned. You really are an interesting one, Rias said with a cute smile. Also, I would like a rematch at chess. You're in? Rias asked. Sure, Itachi replied with a smile. They were all so busy having fun that no one noticed the red-yellow bird watching them through the window. Everyone was gathered inside of the clubroom. Intensive early morning drills? Issei questioned as he and Itachi stood in front of Rias's desk talking with their master, while Kiba, Kaneko, and Asia were sitting on the couches. The fight with the fallen angels showed you need to increase your base physical strength, while Itachi needs to learn how to master some abilities from the Uchiha that's inside him, Rias replied. I see, Issei responded. So, I don't have to increase my physical strength? Itachi questioned. You've already proven that you're skilled enough to go toe-to-toe with a fallen angel and even win. All you have to do is to master the power that resides within you. While as Issei needs to work on his physical strength before he begins to master his own power, Rias explained to the two brothers. What I'm hearing is that my big brother is ahead of me like usual, Issei said with a nervous smile. I'll pick the two of you up by 5, Rias said with a smile. Understood, Itachi said. 5 in the morning? Okay. Then we will be off handing out flyers, Issei said as he and Itachi walked out the door. See you, Rias said as the brothers left. The moment they were out the door, Rias turned towards Asia. Asia? Yes, Asia responded. Regarding the boarding, Rias said as Asia gained a confused expression while Rias smiled. Time skip. Next morning, Hayate residence. Itachi woke up as early as usual and did his daily morning routine. Are you there? Itachi asked while he looked in the bathroom mirror as the image of him changed into an older version of himself with the black cloak with red clouds on it, as well as a headband with a forehead protector with a mark on it that was cut over. I'm always here, Itachi Uchiha replied. Can you tell me more about my powers? Itachi asked. Which one? Itachi Uchiha questioned. All of them, Itachi replied. How about I tell you about the ones that you can use at the moment? Itachi Uchiha suggested. Fine, Itachi agreed. You already know about how to walk on walls and trees. You also know how to use the fireball jutsu as well as the shadow clone, the former Umbu captain pointed out. Yes, Itachi said. There's so much more, Itachi Uchiha said. Like what? Itachi questioned. Back when I was alive, there was something called the 5 elements: fire, wind, water, earth, and lightning. We were able to use 3 of them, which were fire, water, and wind, Itachi Uchiha said. So I can use fire, water, and wind attacks? Itachi questioned. Yes, there's also much more though. Although I suggest you start small, Itachi Uchiha replied. What did you have in mind? Itachi asked. I suggest you learn for now 1 water technique and wind technique. Also something else, Itachi Uchiha replied. What techniques did you have in mind? Itachi asked. You already know the fireball jutsu, which is an offense attack. I suggest you learn a defense jutsu called water wall. And simply a wind technique to power up your fire. But I think I should teach you something else first. Itachi Uchiha said. What? Itachi asked. Genjutsu, or to put it in another term, illusion. Itachi Uchiha replied. What kind of illusion? Itachi questioned. Your Sharingan can do much more than just reading movements. Itachi Uchiha said. What can it do? Itachi questioned. Your Sharingan can see and read movements as well as memories any attack you have seen, making it easier for you to counter it, or even mimic them. But the main thing it can do is to cast an illusion on your opponent by looking into their eyes. It can be either deadly or simply to immobilize your opponent. It's a very handy move if you want to end a fight as quickly as possible. Itachi Uchiha explained. So all I have to do is look at them? Itachi questioned. Well, of course you have to focus energy into your eyes first. What the best part is, you can an illusion on an opponent without them even knowing. Itachi Uchiha replied. Doesn't sound too difficult to master. Itachi said. Not if you have good chakra control. And since you're a prodigy like I was, you have already mastered chakra control. Itachi Uchiha said. Is there anything more you can tell me about? Itachi asked. No, I will personally teach you those jutsus I told you about another time. In the meantime, see if you can cast an illusion or hypnotize an animal or two with your Sharingan. Oh, there's one more thing. Itachi Uchiha said. Wait, so I can also hypnotize people? Itachi asked. Yes, just send your thoughts into it, and tell them what to think or what to do. But there's something else I should tell you, about walking on things like you did with the walls. Itachi Uchiha said. What about it? Itachi questioned. You can also walk on water, although that's a little more difficult than walking on walls and trees. It requires a lot more chakra control, so you could work on that when that Rias girl takes you and your brother out for those exercising drills. Itachi Uchiha said as the image of him in the mirror returned into the normal image of Itachi Hayato, although the only difference was the clothing and the fact that Itachi Hayato looks younger. Guess I should wake up the idiot. Itachi said and went over to Issei's bedroom door and knocked. Issei. It's time to wake up. Rias will be here soon. That's right. I'll be there soon. Issei's voice said from the other side of the door. Sometime later, Itachi and Issei Gad put on their tracksuits, which were gray with the upper chest area of the tracksuit being white. They went outside and saw Rias also on a tracksuit sitting on a bike. Both the brothers began with a warm-up run while Rias was right behind them while riding her bike. Itachi was doing just fine while as Issei looked tired. Hey! Pull yourself together, Rias said. Why yes. Issei responded and began to run a little faster. I will become the harem king, that's it, keep going. Itachi encouraged with an emotionless expression. I didn't expect devils to train like athletes. Issei grumbled. Don't grumble. I don't want to see my servants being weak. Rias said. I will do my best. Issei said as he began to run faster. After the running they began doing training exercises at the park. Itachi? Do you know what you need to work on? Rias asked. According to my past life self, I need to work on chakra control for a bit. I think I will need to meditate to do that. Itachi replied. Perfect then. Issei, get ready to do some push-ups. Rias said looking at the youngest Hayato. Why yes. Issei responded getting in push-up position. Itachi, sit on Issei's back and begin meditating. Rias ordered. What? Issei questioned. This will help you get stronger physically and Itachi will get control over his powers. It's a win-win. Rias replied. Issei began doing push-ups while Itachi sat in a meditating position on his back. This is bullshit. Issei cursed as he struggled with the push-ups. No, it's not, it's easy. Itachi said. Oh yeah, let's see you do it. Issei shouted. Fine. Itachi said as he got up from Issei and went into a push-up position with only one arm. Rias, if you would. Itachi said as Rias sat on his back and Itachi did the push-ups with ease with only one arm. Issei stared at Itachi with an annoyed expression. Show off. Anyway, get back to the plan. Rias said as Issei went into push-up position while Itachi sat on his back meditating. Given your ability, your power will increase with greater physical strength. Rias said to Issei as struggled with the push-ups. Yes ma'am. Issei said. Suddenly a blue light appeared making Issei stop with his push-ups looking at the source. Wow. Rias said as she looked at Itachi who now was letting out a blue aura light around him. That wasn't so hard. Itachi said and looked towards the fountain in the center of the park. Now to see if it worked. Itachi said as he got off from Issei and walked towards the fountain. Rias suddenly remembered something. She should be here about now. Huh? Is someone coming? Issei questioned when he saw Rias looking in one direction. Sorry for making you wait. Asia's voice was heard. Issei looked over to the blonde nun who was in her nun outfit with a basket in her arm as she ran towards them. Issei-san, Bucho-san, I'm sorry I'm late, Asia said when she suddenly tripped. Why did I have to trip? Issei took a break from training. Here. Asia said as he poured Issei a drink. Thanks. Issei said. Asia, why are you here? Bucho-san told me to come. Asia replied. Bucho, why'd you call Asia here? Issei questioned when he saw Rias looking into the distance. Bucho? Issei questioned and looked in the direction where she was looking and gained a shocked expression. Asia saw Issei's expression and looked over the same direction and gained also a shocked expression. They saw Itachi walking on the water in the fountain. How is he doing that? Issei questioned. He's walking on water. Just like Jesus, he's walking on water, Asia said. Itachi then walked back over to the others. Is that something the Uchiha in you told you about? Rias questioned. Yeah, it's just like when I walked on the walls. I put some of my chakra beneath my feet, and I'm able to walk on water. Itachi replied and then looked over at his shocked little brother and the shocked nun. What's wrong? You walked on water, that's what's wrong! Issei shouted. Are you Jesus? Asia asked. Huh? Itachi questioned. Now that Asia's here, let's go. Rias said. Go where? Issei questioned. Rias looked at the two brothers with a smile. To your house. When they arrived at the house, they saw several boxes outside of the door. What are all these? Issei questioned. Those are my belongings. Asia replied, making the two brothers look in her direction. Turns out I had a lot more than I thought. You had something to do with this, didn't you? Itachi questioned, looking at Rias. That's right. Asia will be living at your place from now on. Rias replied with her usual smile. What? Issei questioned. I am fortunate to be in your care. Asia said with a small bow. I asked her where she'd like to board, and she picked your home. Rias said. Isn't this a little too sudden? Itachi questioned with a sweat drop. Once they were inside the house and told Itachi and Issei's parents, they were beyond shocked. Asia-san, was it? Mr. Haida questioned while gaping along with his wife. Yes, Mr. Haida. Asia replied. Wouldn't a different family be better as a homestay? Mr. Haida asked. Issei-san and Itachi-san did me a real favor. Asia said. A favor? I mean, I can understand Itachi doing something like that, but Issei? Mr. Haida said. Yes, they both helped me so much when I first came here, when I was all alone. I think it would be really nice to stay in this house. Asia said. Asia, Issei said with a small blush, but if it is a bother, I won't insist. Asia said. We're not saying no. We do have an empty room. But Miss Haida said. Our son Issei is basically the incarnation of lust. Mr. Haida finished. Yeah. Miss Haida agreed. Don't say that about your own son. Issei shouted while Itachi let out a small chuckle. Then how about teaching her to be a housewife for Issei while staying here? Rias suggested. Housewife? The Haida family questioned in unison. Honey. I never thought I'd get to see my grandchildren in this life. Mr. Haida said as tears streamed down his eyes while he was holding his wife's hand, who also had tears streaming down her eyes. Dear, me too. Itachi may have the looks and a kind personality, but he's so antisocial that I thought he would never get a girlfriend. Miss Haida cried. Hey. Itachi said, a little bit insulted by that comment, and with our other failure of a son. Miss Haida cried. Hey, wait a second. Issei shouted, feeling insulted. Mr. and Mrs. Haida, Issei-san is not a failure at all. Asia said with her pure expression. She didn't try to defend me, however. Itachi thought with a sweat drop. She's such a kind girl. Miss Haida said. Rias-san, we'll take care of Asia-san. Please let us take care of her. Mr. Haida said. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Haida. Rias thanked and looked towards the two brothers. That settles it. So we're just going to decide just like that she will be Issei's wife? Itachi questioned. Rias then gained a strange expression. A wife, huh, Rias? Itachi questioned as he saw the look in her eyes. She looked depressed. Something strange. Itachi thought. Time skip. Itachi, Issei and Asia had come back to the clubroom after a delivery of the flyers. Rias, we're back. Itachi said, but Rias was lost in her own thought. Rias? I'm sorry. I was spacing out a bit. Thanks for your work, you three. Rias said and then looked over to the former nun. Asia, yes? Asia questioned. I'm thinking about having you debut tonight. Rias said. Debut? Asia questioned. You teleport to a client through a magic circle and form a contract. Wait, isn't this too early? Asia has been a devil only for a few days. Issei said, acting overprotective over Asia. It's no problem. As far as I've figured out, Asia-chan's demonic power ranks just below mine in this household. Akino said, entering the room with a tray of tea. As seriously? Issei questioned, to which Kaneko nodded. You'll be a very capable bishop. Rias praised. You're amazing, Asia-san. Kiba praised, and not at Asia stuttered. Don't be modest, you have amazing potential. Itachi said. What's the matter, Asia? Rias asked. It's nothing. Since that's your order, Asia said when suddenly Issei slammed his hands on the table. Bucho. Issei said. What? Rias questioned. Let me go this time. Issei replied. Issei-san? Asia questioned. You're still not familiar with this country. I think you should wait until after you are a little more used to living here. Issei said with a smile. Guess he's growing up. Itachi thought with a smile. I guess that's fine. Rias said. I'm off then. Issei said as he went out of the room. Itachi? Rias said. Yes? Itachi questioned. You've not formed a contract yet either, right? Rias asked. Itachi gained a little annoyed expression. No, I haven't, mostly because Issei messes things up. I see. Do you think you could form a contract without Issei with you? Rias asked. Well, yeah, most likely. Itachi replied. Well then, how about I accompany you tomorrow on a summoning? Rias suggested. Well, I wouldn't mind, but are you sure? Itachi questioned. Yeah, why not? It could be fun. And if you form a contract, I will give you a reward. Rias replied with a smile. A reward? Well, sure, why not? Itachi said. Time skip. Next day at the clubroom. So the guy wanted you to make him into a magical girl? Itachi questioned. Yes, I was scared. I thought I was going to shit myself at first. Issei replied, shaking with horror. In the end, you didn't form a contract, right? Itachi asked. No, I ended up watching a magical girl anime with him until the end. Issei cried in disappointment. Itachi, ready to go? Rias asked as she formed a magic circle beneath her. Yes. Itachi replied and stepped in. Off you go. Akino said as Itachi and Rias vanished through the magic circle. Itachi and Rias arrived in some apartment that had several Japanese samurai stuff. He then looked and saw a samurai armor in the center of the room that suddenly stood up. Oh, are you the devils? The samurai armor asked in a girl's voice. You're the client? You're a woman, right? Itachi asked as he looked at the samurai mask that covered her face. The mask looked like an old man with a mustache. Yes. The samurai girl nodded. My name is Susan. I came here to study because I love Japanese culture. Okay, but what's with the armor? Itachi questioned. I'm sorry. I clad myself in armor to be protected from dangers of the night. Susan replied. Is that so? Itachi said. But I'm glad nice devils like you came. If a scary devil had come, I would have had to draw this Kijinmaru Kunishige. Susan said and drew out her katana. Huh. Itachi commented. They then sat down. So, Susan-san, what do you want us to do? Itachi asked. Susan then brought her hands in front of her mask and making sounds that sounded like crying. Please accompany me to the university so I can retrieve the notes I left there. That's it? Itachi asked with a sweat drop. The university is scary at night. Susan shouted while crying under her mask. She's the scary one. Itachi thought. They ended up walking outside towards the university. Suddenly a dog was heard barking, scaring Susan so that she began swinging her katana around. What's wrong? Itachi asked. Sorry, streets at night are scary. Susan apologized. Honestly, I think people will be more scared of you. Itachi said with a sweat drop. Once they had recovered the notebook, they went back to Susan's apartment. Thank you so much. Susan thanked with a bow. My pleasure. Itachi said with a bow. Well, I guess we will be off then. Susan muttered. What? Itachi asked. Actually, I have another favor to ask. Susan said. Is that so? Rias, do we do more than one request? Itachi asked, looking at Rias. Oh, we don't mind. Rias said as they sat down once more. A boy you fell in love with? Yes. I'm shy and thus couldn't express my feelings. He's a very wonderful man. Susan replied. So you want us to make him fall in love with you? Rias asked. Wait. We have the power to do that. Itachi questioned. If possible, I don't want any demonic powers involved. I want to earn his love on my own. Susan said. Then why don't you confess to him right away? Rias asked. I can't just do that. Susan said with a blush on her mask for some reason. Then how about a letter? Itachi suggested. A letter? Susan questioned. Oh yeah, a love letter might be a good idea. Rias said. Love letter? Susan said. It's wonderful to convey one's feelings in writing. Rias said. Oh, okay. I'll give it a try. Susan said and brought out a paper, a pen and ink. I'm writing you about no specific order of business, thus you may set your mind to ease. Sounds a little like an official address. Itachi commented. It's all right. It's the feelings that matter, not the form. Rias said. I'm well aware of that, but mostly love letters don't go like that. Itachi said. You sound like you have some experience in this? Rias said. Well, flashback. Itachi was standing in front of his shoe locker that looked like it was about to explode with letters sticking out from it. Itachi opened the shoe locker, and a wave of love letters crashed into him, sending him into a wall. Flashback end. That happened. Itachi said, making Rias let out a little chuckle. I'm done. Susan said as she was holding a bow and arrow with the letter tied on the arrow. Well, I guess that's an original way to send it. Itachi said with a sweat drop. Time skip. At some park there were several flags behind them as horns were heard playing in the background. Mom, what is that? A little girl asked, walking by with her mother. Don't look. The mother said. Seriously, seem a little over the top. Itachi said. Seems like he's here. Rias said. What? Itachi questioned as he saw a shining knight walking towards them with the arrow in his helmet. The arrow. Susan, why is the arrow stuck to his head? Itachi asked with a deadpan expression. Well, I thought about different ways to do it, but sending a message via arrow was the only thing I could manage. Susan said. I see. Itachi said with a sweat drop as he and Rias stepped to the side. Susan and the knight stood in front of each other as leaves blew in the wind. I have read your letter. It was a wonderful message. I'm amazed you caught me off guard and shot me with an arrow. What a letter! Guess he doesn't have high standards. Itachi commented, to which Rias elbowed him on the side. Oh no, all I was thinking was how to get it to you, Horii-kun. Susan said, I want to go out with you if you don't mind. Horii said as he went up to Susan and grabbed a hold of her hands. Horii-kun! I'm so happy! Susan said with joy. Susan! Horii said and hugged her. Your armor is wonderful. Wow, your armor is also so hard and sturdy. Susan said. Later at the clubroom, after having successfully formed a contract, Rias was looking at the photo of Susan and her new boyfriend Horii. They are the perfect couple, I guess. Itachi said. Hey Itachi. Rias said. Yes? Itachi questioned. How do you feel about having a romantic relationship with someone you love? Rias asked. Well, that would be nice. I mean, is there any point in going out with someone you don't even love? So being with the person you love would be the greatest thing in the world, in my opinion. Itachi said. I appreciate the answer. Rias said with a small blush. Anyway, now for your reward. My reward? Oh right, I almost forgot. What is this reward anyway? Itachi asked. Let's see. How about I let you touch my? Rias suggested. I'll pass. Itachi said with a deadpan expression. Oh, don't be like that. Come here. Rias said and began walking towards Itachi. No really, I don't need a reward. Itachi said, slowly backing away. I promise you a reward, and I don't want to be a liar. So come on, Itachi. Rias said with an amused smile. Rias was then right in front of Itachi. I don't, Itachi said as he and Rias suddenly fell down on the couch with Rias on top of Itachi. They both looked into each other's eyes as Itachi had a small trace of blush on his face, same with Rias. Rias slowly leaned her face closer to Itachi's when suddenly, We're here! Issei shouted as he opened the door with Asia standing next to him. What are you two doing? Issei shouted when he saw Rias on top of Itachi on the couch. That's indecent. Asia said, covering her eyes with a little blush. Did we interrupt something? Kiba asked as he, Kaneko, and Akino also entered the room. Era, what happened here? Akino asked with a little chuckle. Itachi said when Rias suddenly placed her finger on his lips. Guess we'll have to wait for another time. Rias said with a wink. In the meantime, accept this. Rias said as Itachi sat up and Rias hugged him. Oh, lucky bastard. Issei cried. You know that everyone's watching, right? Itachi asked. Keep working hard, my cute Itachi. Rias said. Itachi then smiled and returned the hug. I will, Rias. Could you be? Akino thought. Time skip. Next day at the clubroom. I'm ready. Asia said, having packed her bag with flyers. Then we're off to distribute flyers. Let's go, Asia. Issei said. I would rather finish it, so let's go. Itachi said. Wait. Rias said. What? The trio questioned in unison to their master. This'll be the last week you have to distribute flyers. As I've said before, you were doing it as a part of your training. Distributing flyers is actually a familiar's job. Rias said. Then we're done distributing flyers. Issei questioned. First, you need to get a familiar. Rias said. Later the whole club gathered in the room as Rias waved her hand, making a little bat-like creature pop up. This is my familiar. You've met her before, Issei. Rias said. Huh? Issei questioned as the bat turned into a curvy woman with short brown hair and brown eyes, wearing a red shirt with short sleeves, and a white short skirt. What? Issei questioned, remembering this was the girl that gave him the flyer during his date with Yuma. Then that girl was, Issei said as the woman turned back into a bat. Interesting. Itachi muttered. This is mine. Akino said as a green imp appeared from a small magic circle. An imp? Issei questioned. This is Shiro. Kaneko said as she had a white kitten in her arms. Mine is. Kiba was about to introduce his familiar. I don't want to see yours. Issei said. Oh, come on. Kiba said with a nervous smile. It's a basic thing for devils. They can assist you, deliver messages, and even find things. Rias explained. How do you get a familiar? Asia asked. That is, Rias said when someone knocked on the door. Come in. Akino said as the door opened. Please excuse us. A young woman about the same age as Itachi, Rias, and Akino with black hair cut in a bob cut. Her eyes were purple and she wore a pair of glasses. Her outfit was the standard Co-Academy female school uniform. She had 7 other people behind her. On her right was the only boy of the group. He appeared to be around Issei's age. He had short blonde hair and gray eyes. He wore the standard male school uniform. On her left was a young woman also the same age. She had long straight black hair that went all the way to her knees. She had split bangs. Her eyes were light brown and she wore the standard female uniform. She is, Issei stuttered. Who is she? Asia asked. She's the student council president, Shirtorai Sona-senpai. Next to her is the vice president, Shinra Tsubaki-senpai. Actually, these are all student council members. Issei said. What brings all of you here? Rias asked. Just a greeting, since both of us have some new servants. Sona said. Servants? Don't tell me, Issei said. Her real name is Sona Citri. She's the heiress apparent of the upper-class Citri family. Akino said. So there are other devils at this school? Itachi questioned. Rias-senpai, you didn't tell them about us? It's strange he wouldn't notice fellow devils though. The boy said. Saji, the two families do not meddle in each other's affairs. It's no surprise that they are unaware. Sona said to the boy known as Saji, you're the guy who recently joined the student council as the secretary. Class 2C's Issei said. Saji Genshiro, my pawn. Sona introduced Saji. This is my pawn, Hayate Issei. My bishop Asia Argento. And my sword of pawn Hayate Itachi. Rias introduced. Oh, you're a pawn too? And we're also in the same grade. Issei said to Saji. Saji let out a sigh. I must say that being the same piece as one of the perverted trio seriously hurts my pride. What did you say, bastard? Issei questioned in anger. Oh, you wanna fight? I just became a devil, but I'm a pawn that was worth 4 pieces. Saji bragged. Saji, don't. Also, he was worth 7 pieces. Sona said. 7? I can't believe it. A lame guy like this, Saji said, shocked at the fact that Issei was worth more. Shut up. Issei cursed. Apologies for that, Hayate Issei-kun, Hayate Itachi-kun, Argento-san. Try to get along with him, if you can, he's also a new to being a devil. Sona said with a smile, then turned to Saji. Saji, yes, ma'am. Saji said and went up to Asia. Pleased to meet you. Saji said as Asia shook his hand. Pleased to meet you too. Asia said with her usual happy tone. To be with a cutie like you, the pleasure is all mine. Saji said when suddenly Issei went between them and grabbed Saji's hand and began squeezing it as hard as he could. Saji-kun, nice to meet you. I mean, I'll really kill you if you lay your hands on Asia, Saji-kun. Issei said in rage. Saji then began squeezing Issei's hand. Trying to keep a blonde beauty all to yourself? As one would expect from a perverted critter, you must be having a rough time. Rias said to Sona. Same goes for you. Sona said. I was allowed a familiar as soon as I debuted. I hear you're still handing out flyers. Saji mocked. Don't make fun of me. Bucho told me to get a familiar just now. Issei said. That's enough, you two. Itachi said as he appeared between them, pushing them back by their chins. So you are going to go to him as well? Sona asked. Yeah, I had some time in next week in mind though. Rias replied. But he's only available once a month. Sona said. Then how about deciding it with a fair game? Rias suggested. A game? Sona questioned. The winner gains the right to commission him. Rias said. Are you talking about a rating game? Sona asked. Oh no. We'd never even be granted permission for that. Rias said. Right. You can't afford to harm yourself right now, after all. Sona said. Rias gained a dark expression. That's irrelevant. Rias said, making Itachi look at her with a questioning expression. Oh, I know. Let's settle it through sports like the high school students we are. Rias said. Actually, how about we just do it simple? Itachi said. What did you have in mind? Rias asked. A little chess game. Winner gets to take their group and get a familiar. How does that sound? Itachi said. I don't know. Rias said. What's the matter, afraid that you will lose to me, Rias? Sona mocked. Who said she would be the one battling you? Itachi said. Who then? Sona asked. Me. I've beaten Rias in chess before after all. Itachi replied. Is this true? Sona asked Rias. Yeah, he beat me. Rias replied. How about it? Sounds fair, right? Itachi said with his hand extended towards Sona. Sona let out a small grin. Sure, sounds fair. Sona said and shook Itachi's hand. They both went over to the table with the chess board on it. They sat down on the couches. Are you sure you can win? Rias asked Itachi. Trust me, I will be fine. Itachi replied. There's no way he can beat the president. Saji said with a confident smirk. Let's begin. Itachi said. Tap. Sona moved a piece. Rias said that you were sort of her pawn. What does that mean exactly? Sona asked. Tap. Itachi moved a piece. Apparently, she tried to use her last pawn piece on me, but somehow that pawn transformed into a queen. Itachi replied. A queen? Sona and her peerage questioned in shock. How? Sona questioned. I don't know. Itachi replied. Itachi has a very powerful sacred gear. In fact, his sacred gear contains the power of an ancient ninja clan known as the Uchiha. Rias said. Uchiha? The clan we heard from all those fairy tales as children? The clan of monsters said to possess the power to become gods? Sona questioned, making her peerage members stare at Itachi in amazement. Yes. Rias replied with a smile. Tap. Sona moved a piece. And how do you know this to be true? Tap. Itachi moved his chess piece. Simple. Apparently I'm the reincarnation of a man known as Uchiha Itachi. Ask those three, they have seen him. Itachi said and pointed at Kiba, Issei and Kaneko. Yes. Nissan used some technique and suddenly in a puff of smoke came this guy that looked like an older version of him. He had a black cloak with some red clouds on them and some sort of headband. He also, like an Aisan, had those red eyes. Issei said. Red eyes? Sona questioned as she looked at Itachi, whose black eyes suddenly turned red with 3 black tomos and a black dot in the center. That's your sacred gear? Yeah, Sharingan. Itachi replied and deactivated his Sharingan. Tap. Sona moved a piece. I thought they were simply fairy tales, but it seems they were real. Interesting. Tap. Itachi moved a piece. Well, I don't really know anything about the Uchiha anymore apparently. I have no memory of it. Tap. Sona moved a piece. I see. Tap. Itachi moved a piece. I must say you're much more of strategist than Rias. Tap. Sona moved a piece. Is that so? Tap. Itachi moved a piece. You're more challenging than her. But you're not that far apart. Let me guess, out of the two of you she's the strongest, and you're the smartest. Tap. Sona moved a piece. We're equal. That's why Rias is my rival. Tap. Itachi moved a piece. Rival, huh? Tap. Sona moved a piece. We're also childhood friends though. Tap. Itachi moved a piece. Is that so? Tap. Sona moved a piece. This might be the best challenge I have ever had. Sona said, looking a little worried. Tap. Itachi moved a piece. Same. Itachi said with an emotionless expression. Your move. Sona looked down at the chessboard and widened her eyes. This is, no matter what move you make now you lose. Itachi said. You could use your rook to take out my knight, but then I would be able to use my bishop to take out your rook. Or you could use your queen to take out mine, but then my knight would take out your queen. Either way your king would be surrounded, which will result in checkmate. Itachi pointed out, shocking everyone on how he had tricked Sona into a trap. There's no way you could win. Either you make your final move and lose or you give up. Tap. Sona moved a piece. Tap. Itachi moved a piece. Checkmate. He beat the president. Saji muttered in shock. Sona stared at the board until she saw a hand in front of her. She looked up and faced Itachi. Good game. Itachi said with a smile. Heh. I hate losing, but it was a good game. Sona said with a small chuckle and shook Itachi's hand. Looks like you've gained a one-of-a-kind of a servant, Rias. Yeah, he's impressive. He surprises me every time. Rias said with a smile. Time skip. Now, there's no time to waste. Let's go get familiars. Rias said as Akino made a magic circle. Right now? Asia asked. We can only meet him when there's a full moon. Rias replied. Him? Issei questioned. The familiar master. Rias said as they all vanished through the magic circle. They arrived in some sort of forest. Where are we? Itachi asked. The familiar forest. The forest where familiars are created. Akino replied. We got our familiars here as well. Kiba said, to which Kaneko nodded. This place does look creepy, like something's gonna lash out at me. Issei said. Why yes. Asia agreed. Gotta catch 'em all. A male voice said. Everyone looked towards the source and saw a middle-aged man on a tree branch. Who's there? Issei questioned. I'm the familiar master, Zatuji. Zatuji had red hair tied into a short ponytail as he was wearing cap backwards. He had white shirt, a yellow bag on his back, and he had red shorts. Familiar, Issei said. Master? Asia finished. Why does he look parody of someone? Itachi questioned. It's a nice full moon today. The best day to catch some familiar. I can catch any familiar. Zatuji said. He's a professional when it comes to catching them. Akino said. He feels more like a joke. Itachi commented. Now, what are you looking for in a familiar? Strength? Speed? Or maybe one with poison ability? Zatuji questioned the group. Actually, do you have any cute familiars? One that looks like a girl? Issei asked with a perverted grin. TSK, you newbies can't do it right. You want familiars to be useful and strong. That is to say, you must know their abilities and choose one that complements your own. Zatuji said. I want a cute familiar as well. Asia said. Oh, sure thing, baby. Zatuji said with a goofy grin. Thank you so much. Asia thanked. You, Issei said, staring at the familiar master in anger. Croc-ra! A crow was heard. Everyone looked in the sky and saw a crow fly towards them. Everyone started and shook at the crow, but then suddenly it landed on Itachi's shoulder, nuzzling its head up against his cheek. Huh? Itachi questioned. Oh, that's a nice one. Zatuji said. This is interesting. How so? Itachi questioned. Well, you see, this familiar is helpful to cast illusions on people, and it can call upon other crows to help them. Usually no one can get close to them. It most really like you. Strange, it's been around for maybe several hundreds of millions of years and never shown any interest in anyone before now. Zatuji said, inspecting Itachi. Suddenly, in a puff of smoke, the crow turned into a busty young woman with long raven black hair reaching down to her knees, and she had black eyes. And she was wearing a black coat with black feathers around the collar. Everyone stared in shock as the young woman hugged Itachi. I'm finally reunited with you, Itachi-sama. Sama? Itachi questioned. That's a familiar face. Itachi Uchiha's voice echoed through Itachi's mind. You know her? Itachi asked. Oh yeah, she used to be my summoning animal. It's kind of like a familiar, I guess. I'm surprised that she's still alive. Her name is Yukino. Anyway, look at her with your Sharingan, and I will explain things to her. Itachi Uchiha said. Very well. Itachi activated his Sharingan as his and Yukino's eyes meet. Inside Itachi's mindscape, Yukino looked around and then saw Itachi Uchiha standing a few feet away from her. Itachi-sama? What's going on? I will need to explain a few things for you, Itachi Uchiha said. Itachi explained how he was given a second chance at life, and that he was reincarnated into being Itachi Hayato. And how Itachi Hayato has no memory of his past life, and how Itachi Uchiha is simply the last thing in Itachi Hayato's head that has all the memories, in case Itachi Hayato should ever choose that he wishes to remember his past. I see. So the Itachi-sama outside is you but with no memory of his past life, Yukino said. Yes, and please don't encourage him in wanting to learn more about his old life, nor will you tell him anything about it. That's an order, Itachi Uchiha ordered. Understood, Yukino said in a salute. Now the reason he's in that forest is to find a familiar. I know, so do you want me to be his familiar? Yukino asked. If that's what he wants, then do whatever you want. As long as you don't tell him anything about his past, then I'm fine with it, Itachi Uchiha said. Understood, Itachi-sama. I will serve this Itachi-sama until the day he dies, Yukino declared, making Itachi Uchiha let out a little smirk. Back in the real world. So you're the reincarnation of Itachi-sama? Yukino questioned. Yes, Itachi replied. Hey, want to be my master? Yukino asked. What? Itachi questioned. I'm asking if you want me to be your familiar, Yukino replied. Hey, no fair. He gets a cute girl he can do naughty things with, Issei said. Who said I wanted to do naughty things to her? Itachi questioned with a sweat drop. Whoa. You may have no memory, but you're still just like the Itachi-sama I remembered. And don't worry, Itachi-sama and I are just partners. I have no interest in a sexual relationship, Yukino assured with her fingers crossed in an X mark behind her back. Later on, the group was at a lake while even Yukino was there hugging Itachi's arm. Would you mind to let me go? Itachi asked. Just a little more. I'm finally reunited with my Itachi-sama, Yukion replied. The water spirit Udina lives in this lake, Zatuji informed. The water spirit? Judging from that name, it's probably someone, as a future harem king, I'll want to keep around. Cleaning my ears is an excuse to lie my head on her lap. I'll gently reach out my hands to touch her deeply mysterious Issei, Issei said with a face of lust. Itachi-sama, is that your new brother? Yukino asked, still hugging Itachi's arm. New? Yeah, he's my younger brother Issei, Itachi replied. Whoa. He seems like an interesting guy, Yukino said with an amused smile. The water, Kiba said as the water began letting out a mysterious light. Oh, Undine's coming out, Zatuji said as the back of a tall woman was seen with curly blonde hair. It was wearing some sort of pink cloth. When she turned around, she looked more like a giant male pro wrestler. At the sight of this, Issei's face began to turn blue as he was gaping out of shock. That's Undine, Zatuji said. No, that's a fighter who came to bathe no matter how you look at her, Issei argued. You're in luck, boy. It's pretty rare to come across one. A fighting-oriented water spirit isn't bad, Zatuji said. It's bad. It looks more like a hitman more than a gentle spirit, Issei said as tears ran down his eyes. But it is female, Zatuji pointed out. That's one thing I really didn't want to know, Issei said with a depressed tone as he fell to his knees. Yukino was letting out a laughter. He really is an amusing one, Yukino said as she laughed, and Itachi just sweat dropped. Later on, the group moved on by walking through the forest. But she had pure eyes. I'm sure she's a good-natured girl, Asia said, trying to defend the water spirit from earlier. Please don't call that a girl, Issei said with a lifeless expression. Wait. Look, Zatuji said, pointing at a tree branch where a tiny little blue dragon was sitting. D-dragon? Issei questioned. It's cute, Asia said, looking in awe at the little guy. Sprite dragon. Child of the dragon that wields cerulean lightning, Zatuji explained. It's a quite high-class one, Kiba commented. It's my first time actually seeing one, Rias said. Now's the only chance to catch it. It's impossible to catch in mature form. Issei-kun has the power of the Emperor of Red Dragon, so the compatibility should be fine, Akino pointed out. I see. All right, Sprite Dragon, I choose you, Issei said when suddenly he heard Asia scream. Asia! Issei turned to the former nun as green slime was raining down. Era, Akino said as slime fell over her, Rias and Kaneko as well. Huh? Yukino questioned as the slime fell on her as well. Slime! Kiba took out his sword, but a piece of slime fell down on his face, covering his eyes. Era? This is embarrassing, Akino said as her clothes began to fade away. Oh no! Rias said as her clothes also began to vanish. They're dissolving, Asia said with a blush as she tried to use her hands to cover up her private parts. So slimy. Gross, Kaneko said as her clothes began to vanish as well. Era? Yukino said, not seeming to care as her clothes also began to vanish. Damn it! Kiba cursed as he tried to pull the slime away from his face. Issei then covered his hand over his nose as he gained a nosebleed. This is wonderful! When suddenly Kaneko punched him in the face. Don't look, Kaneko said, then turned towards Itachi, who was staring at them not knowing what to do. What do I do now? Itachi questioned as he tried to avert his eyes away from the girls with a small blush. Don't look either. Kaneko threatened. Wasn't my intention. Itachi said. Suddenly their underwear began to vanish as the slime had tied the girls' hands together. I can't use my demonic power like this. Rias said. Era, this is a problem. Akino said. What's going on? Itachi asked the familiar master who, like Kiba, had slime in front of his eyes, but he still had blood running down from his nose. These are slimes that primarily feed on textile. Though, they're mostly harmless aside from eating women's clothes. Zatuji said. Clothes-eating slimes? Bucho, I'll make this slime my familiar. Issei said. Era, not there. Akino said with a small blush on her face. This is exactly the talent I was seeking. Issei said. You know, Issei, familiars are very important to devils. Think carefully. Rias tried to reason with Issei. I've thought carefully. I'll make this my familiar. Issei declared. Your brother really is a funny one, Itachi-sama. Yukino said, not giving a damn at the fact that she was practically naked. Aren't you embarrassed of this situation? Itachi asked, averting his eyes away from the girls. About what? Yukino questioned, tilting her head to the side. Never mind. What should I do anyway? Itachi questioned. How about you try using an illusion on them? Itachi Uchiha's voice suggested in his head. Their slime, would it even work on them? Itachi questioned. If they're living beings, it will work. Itachi Uchiha replied. I'll give it a try then. Itachi said as he activated his Sharingan, concentrating on the slime on Rias first. Suddenly the slime just leaped off her and into a pile on the ground. Itachi then focused on the slime on Akino, then suddenly they leaped off into the same pile. Itachi then focused on the slime on Kaneko, then suddenly it leaped of her and into the pile with the rest. Itachi then focused on Yukino, then the slime leaped of her and into the pile. Rias then sent a wave of destruction magic at the pile, reducing it to burnt crisps, much to Issei's horror. Kiba then got the slime of his face and crushed it. And instantly Issei leaped in to protect the slime on Asia. It worked. Wait. Why can I still see the images of the naked bodies of the girls in my head? Oh, once the Sharingan sees something, it will save it in your memory. Itachi Uchiha replied. What? Itachi questioned. Why is it such a big deal? They're just some female body parts. Itachi Uchiha said, not seeing the big deal about it. How can you say it like it's nothing? Itachi questioned. Why does it matter? It's not like it's the first time you've seen them. Itachi Uchiha replied. Whatever. Itachi said and looked over to Issei, who desperately tried to protect what was left of the slime. Step aside, Issei. Creatures like these must be burned away. Rias said with a red magic circle in her hand. Don't. I have no doubt this slime was born in this world to meet me. This is destiny. You can't separate us. Slatteru, my partner. Issei declared, having given the slime a name. He already named it. Kiba said with a sweat drop. I've never seen a devil who wants the pests of the forest this badly. It's a big world. Zatuji said. This why mom and dad never let him have a pet. Itachi commented. With this slime, I will become a true hero. Issei said when a bolt of lightning hit the slime and Issei. What was that? Issei questioned as he fell down. Everyone looked up to see the little blue dragon flying above them. Was that Sprite Dragon's lightning? Rias questioned. Issei looked down on the remains of the slime. Slotaru. Damn you. Issei cursed to the Sprite Dragon as he was electrocuted once again. Issei-san. Asia said when suddenly the Sprite Dragon landed on her shoulder. It only attacks things it recognizes as enemies. It must have thought the boy and the slime were attacking the blonde girl. Zatuji said. That means, Kiba said, it's cute. Asia said as the little dragon leaped into her arms and cuddled up to her. Well, looks like you got your familiar, beauty. Zatuji said. Time for the ritual then. Later on, Yukino stood in a green magic circle with her clothes now like the rest of the girls back on. In the name of Hyodo Itachi, I order you to form a contract as my familiar. Itachi chanted as the magic circle vanished. All right, Asia-chan is next. Akino said. I'm finally under the service of Itachi-sama once more. Yukion said, happily hugging her master. Let go. Itachi ordered. The little dragon was now in a green magic circle. In the name of Asia Argento, I order you to form a contract as my familiar. Asia chanted and finished the ritual. All right, we're done. Well done, Itachi-kun. Asia-chan. Akino said. The dragon then leaped into Asia's arms and began nuzzling up against her. That tickles, Rase-kun. Rase? Issei questioned. Yes, since he shoots lightning. I took part of it from your name as well. Asia replied with a small blush. Well, it's all good. Issei said with a nervous laughter. Nice to meet you,